Part 95. Become a disciple of Taoist priest Four Eyes. Author, Dong Ren. Chapter 953. In front of the gate of the Immortal Palace, 18 middle-aged Taoist priests wearing green Taoist robes, holding floating dust and immortal-style Taoist bones, stood on both sides. He is both a welcome guest and a caretaker. Under the leadership of Taoist Liu Yun, he handed over the invitation and entered the gate of the Immortal Palace. The moment he entered, Su Junming felt a flash of light in front of him, and the world changed instantly. It is no longer a gorgeous, magnificent, and majestic palace, but a magnificent bamboo forest. The strange thing is that the top of the 100-foot-high bamboo tree is not a bamboo leaf, but a red flower. Of course, not all bamboo trees have red flowers at the top. There are a total of 27 white flowers in the center of the entire bamboo sea. All the white flowers form a semicircle. Wu Chenzi, Taoist Yulin, and Taoist Su Zhen were already sitting in the center. Su Junming, led by Taoist Liu Yun, sat on the right side of Taoist Su Zhen. Obviously, this is the second most noble position besides the three immortals of Yuntai. The person sitting in the most distinguished guest seat is Su Junming's old acquaintance, the immortal Zhen Yuan of Wuzhuangguan in Wanchao Mountain. Three fellow Taoists are polite. Wu Chenzi, Taoist Yulin, and Taoist Suhan quickly stood up and returned the greeting. After greeting the host, Su Junming sounded respectful. "Great Immortal, we meet again." Zhen Yuanzi, who had already stood up when he arrived, smiled and said, "I haven't seen you for many years. Not only has my little fellow Taoist improved his cultivation, but the strength of Chongshan Academy has also skyrocketed. It's really gratifying. The great immortal has oversold me. Although the younger generations have made some achievements, they are still far from the great immortal. I hope that the great immortal will not hesitate to teach me in the future." Zhen Yuanzi smiled and nodded. "Your sixth junior brother didn't come. He just broke through to the great Luo true immortal. He is still consolidating his cultivation and has not come yet. There are many talented people in Chongshan, and you, the leader, are indispensable. Thank you for the compliment, great immortal." People came frequently from behind, and after a brief exchange of words, the two sat down in their seats. Sun Shi sat on the red flower behind him. The Yuntai Immortal meeting is a grand gathering for the entire Taoist sect. Although there are some Suanmen like Zhen Yuanzi who are not Taoist guests, there are not many of them. Not long after Su Junming sat down, an acquaintance walked in. One of the two great Luo in Liguan Taoism, Fu Yunzi, once attended the Long Emperor's sermon in Lingling County. After the routine ceremony with the three immortals of Yuntai and Zhen Yuanzi, "Fellow Taoist Su, we meet again. I've met fellow Taoist Fuyun." He looked around. "What? Junior brother Ling and fellow Taoist Qian Yuan are not here. My junior brother is still consolidating the foundation and has never followed. That's such a shame. Haha, fellow Taoist Su, it seems that everyone is curious about junior brother Ling. How about giving a sermon when he comes out of seclusion?" Taoist Su Zhen said with a smile. "My sixth junior brother is aloof and arrogant. I still need to discuss this matter with him before I can reply to you. Don't be in a hurry, don't be in a hurry. I'll wait for the good news from fellow Taoist Su," Wu Chenzi said with a smile. Others nodded. After Fu Yunzi sat down next to Su Junming. It is estimated that the people who came in later, if they know fellow Taoist Su, will probably ask about fellow Taoist Qian Yuan. Everyone nodded. Soon, an old Taoist wearing apricot yellow Taoist robes with white beard and hair walked in with two disciples. It turns out to be fellow Taoist Chang Kong. Master Yulin smiled. Lejun Guantai's Hang elder Chang Kong Taoist was also a former member of Su Junming's Lingling County. After the immortals exchanged tacit glances, they all stood up to greet him. After greeting Yuntai Sangxian and Zhen Yuanzi, he came to Su Junming. "Fellow Taoist Su, has your junior fellow apprentice Xian Yuan come here?" Before he finished speaking, the whole room burst into laughter. Taoist Chang Kong was confused. Su Junming smiled bitterly and shook his head. Why are you laughing? Just because all Taoist friends are interested in Taoist friend Xian Yuan, we bet that most people will do the same in the future. Now it seems that it is indeed the case. Haha. Taoist Su Zhen stroked his beard and laughed. After realizing it, Chang Kong Daoran shook his head. You are really? Considering my identity, it is difficult to say some slang words. Let's wait and see what happens next, Wachenza said with a smile. It's extreme, it's extreme. It is said that the butt determines the head. When people sit down in the sky, they actually start to look forward to it. Not long after, a Taoist wearing a bright red Taoist robe, with red hair and beard, and a fierce look on his face walked in. Behind him, there was also a young man who was also wearing a bright red Taoist robe and carrying a big gourd on his back, with an aloof expression. After seeing the person clearly, Wachenzi, Chang Kong Taoist and others frowned instantly. Why is he here? As landlords, the three immortals of Yuntai naturally wanted to stand up and greet him. However, Zhen Yuanzi, Chang Kong Taoist, and Wachenzi all sat calmly without any intention of getting up. Seeing them like this, Su Junming also sat down. I hope you, the three fellow Taoists, won't be surprised if you come uninvited. You're welcome, fellow Taoist Luo. You are a guest, so please sit down quietly, Wuozi said. Taoist Luo rolled his strange eyes, glanced at everyone, and looked directly at Su Junming. Today we are gathering with De Luo. All the fellow Taoists are De Luo monks. You, a Tai golden immortal, how dare you steal the honorable position? With a wave of his sleeve, a golden red flame rushed towards Su Junming like lightning. Before Su Junming could take action, Taoist Su Zhen had already activated his Taoist magic to put away the flames. Fellow Taoist Luo, please don't be presumptuous. This is fellow Taoist Su Junming, the headmaster of Chongshan Academy. Daoran Luo's eyes flashed. Who did I know? It turned out to be just a bully. Although he said this, he did not dare to take action again and turned around and walked to Zhen Yuanzi. Luo Yan has met the great immortal. Zhen Yuanzi responded without any intention of getting up. Despite this, Luo Yan did not dare to be arrogant at all and sat down on the futon next to him. Zhen Yuanzi is an ancient powerful man. Whether in the earthly immortal world or the prehistoric world, he is a boss respected by thousands of people, second only to the saints. Not to mention him, not even his master dared to offend him. Consolidate this person, Su Junming said in a message. Fellow Taoist Su Zhen, is this person the red fire immortal Luo Yan? Exactly. This person has obtained the lineage of the true Lord of Fire virtue in the ancient heaven, the immortal Luo Xian in the flame. He is good at using fire techniques. He lives in the Shiwo cave of the fire god mountain in the Dongsheng divine continent. He is also a member of the great Luo and has extraordinary strength. But just like his master, he has an eccentric temperament, both good and evil. I didn't invite him to this Yuntai immortal meeting. I didn't expect him to come on his own. Su Junming felt relieved. Master, this person is really arrogant and we must not let him off lightly, Sun Shi said in a message. Don't be impatient. This person is already a member of De Luo. He may try his best for his master, but he may not be his opponent. If you want to vent your anger, you have to wait until you advance to De Luo as your master. The higher the level of cultivation, the more difficult it becomes to fight at higher levels. Unless you have an extremely powerful rare treasure, such as the Qingping broken sword in Su Junming's hand. However, the latter is too dangerous and he will not use it lightly unless it is absolutely necessary. Glancing at Luo Yan, how could he not be angry at being slapped in the face in public? But compared to anger, reason is more in my mind. Wait until I break through De Luo, then go to Huashan Mountain to regain my position. Master, doesn't the Yuntai Immortal Association have a stage where disciples from various sects compete in martial arts? When the time comes, I will challenge the pretty boy in red robe, and I promise to vent my anger on you. In the Tai Golden Immortal Realm, except for his master and a few senior brothers and sisters, he has never met an opponent. Let's see and then talk. Although it is said that master has something to do and the disciple has to do his job, Su Junming still hopes to get his face back. With the addition of Luo Yan, the atmosphere in the venue instantly became dull. Everyone closed their eyes and meditated, no longer as cheerful as before. After Luo Yan, another old acquaintance of Su Junming walked in. Seeing him, Yuntai Sangxian, Zhen Yuanzi, Wuchenzi, and Su Junming all stood up. Luo Yan saw this, with a flash of anger on his face. However, even he would not dare to be disrespectful to someone with a high level of cultivation. I met my mother. The three Yuntai immortals bowed and saluted at the same time. Three fellow Taoists are so polite. Lishan's old mother, who had white hair and beard, wore a ge robe and held a wooden staff, returned the greeting. Great immortal. Why did mom come just now? Zhen Yuanzi smiled. I encountered a demon causing trouble on the road, which delayed me for a while. Fellow Taoist Su, we meet again. I haven't seen you for many years, but my mother is still as charming as ever. Su Junming returned the greeting. Haha, fellow Taoist, Chongshan Academy is booming. After the Yuntai Immortal meeting, can you recommend fellow Taoist Chen to me? This is a small matter, there is no problem. Mother Lishan smiled, said hello to Wuchenzi and Taoist Chang Kong, nodded to Luo Yan, and sat down on the white flower under Taoist Chang Kong's head. Behind old Mother Lishan, a tall crowned Taoist wearing a purple Taoist robe and holding a jade in his hand walked in. I have never met this person, but Su Junming knows him. Xiao Taoist master of Zishao Temple in Dongsheng Shenzhou. This gentleman is also a great Luo Tianxian. Although it is not as good as the four major sects of Yuntai Xian sect, Lejungguan, Xiang sect, and Leguan Taoism, each with 2 or 3 Luo in charge, it is also the top sect among the Dongsheng Shenzhou Taoist sects. It can be seen that Taoist Xiao is much more popular than Luo Yan. The three immortals of Yuntai, Taoist Chang Kong and Wuchenzi all stood up to welcome him. Because he didn't know him, Su Junming just nodded as a courtesy. The following visitors, except Zhang Yuyang, the supreme elder of the Xiang sect, Songfeng Taoist, the supreme elder of the Quanzhen Dao of Nanzan Buzhu, and Jing Chenzi of the Luofu sect of Nanzan Buzhu, all the remaining visitors were Su Junming's first time. See. After half a day, all 28 white flowers were filled. Except for Luo Yan, the red fire immortal of the red fire cave in the Vulcan mountain of Dongsheng Shenzhou, everyone was invited as this uninvited guest. On the surrounding red flowers, 3,000 Tai golden immortals have also taken their seats. It should be noted that except for Su Junming, all the people sitting on the white flower are in the Luo realm. However, except for Luo Yan, no one had any objection to him sitting in this position, at least not openly. After all, he is the master of Chongshan Academy, and the current strength of the Chongshan lineage is the highest in the world. There is one big Luo true immortal and 2 big Luo heavenly immortals, no one is dissatisfied. Thanks to the book friend /U0026amp, /U0026amp, wandering /U0026amp, /U0026amp, for the 500 starting coin reward, thank you very much. Become a disciple of Taoist priest for us. Author, Dong Ren. Chapter 954. Dang dang. The bell rang 9 times, and the mighty sound waves rolled over the bamboo forest like a torrent. Wuozi's expression was solemn, and his eyes full of majesty swept over everyone. I have no worries, I welcome all my colleagues to participate in this Yuntai Immortal meeting. Like previous years, this Immortal meeting is full of 3 links, discussing Taoism, bartering, and fighting. Those who discuss the Tao are led by the old Taoist, followed by all the great people. As soon as he finished speaking, the white flowers floated up as he sat down, floating 3 feet in the air so that everyone could clearly see them. Human heaven and earth, Qian is at the top, Kun is at the bottom. The mighty Taoist sound was clearly transmitted to everyone's ears. Boom, a mighty sound of thunder sounded in everyone's ears. Gradually, a sea of thunder about half an acre emerged 3 feet above Wuchen's head. This is not a dharma, but an illusion manifested by the thunder avenue. Because the lowest cultivation level of the people present is Tai Golden Immortal, the sermon starts directly from the Tai Golden Immortal realm. Because the starting point is too high, it is not my own way, and I can't understand it at all. It turns out that Wuozi understood the way of thunder, Su Junming thought to himself. Gradually, Wuozi's explanation became more and more obscure. Except for a few of the Tai Golden Immortals who had listened with great interest just now, most of them frowned more and more, and large amounts of sweat visibly seeped from their foreheads. That's it, haha, I understand. Suddenly, a monk in purple robes danced happily, his body filled with thunderous charm. At a glance, it is obvious that through Wuozi's sermon just now, he has realized the way of thunder to the realm of Deluo. As long as his magic power can keep up and his karma is not heavy, in 200 or 300 years, he will be a member of Deluo. The surrounding Tai Golden Immortals instantly cast envious eyes. At the same time, I am also looking forward to the sermons of Brother Deluo who are consistent with his own Taoism. Ashoka's sermons were even more obscure. Except for a few people who majored in Thunder Dao in Deluo, the Tai Golden Immortals could not understand it at all. Su Junming himself also practiced the Tao of Thunder, and he gained a lot from comparing the Tao that Wuozi understood with his own. Wuozi spoke deeper and deeper, and gradually stopped when Deluo Tianxian was at his peak. It can be seen that this is the limit of his understanding. He didn't understand the deeper thunder path, but even so, it was already amazing. It is only one step away from the Taoist realm of Deluo True Immortal. Stop slowly. After calming down for a while, Wuozi said in a loud voice, "That's all for the poor Taoist. I hope all of you will practice well and do your best for the development of our Taoist school and for the sake of all sentient beings in the world. We will follow the teachings of the real person." All the Tai Golden Immortals said loudly. Wuozi slowly fell. After a moment, Master Yulin, one of the 3 immortals of Yuntai, floated into the sky. Unlike his senior brother, he did not comprehend the Thunder Way, but the Aoki Way. Daoxing is also much worse than Wuozi. He only talked about the middle stage of Deluo Tianxian and stopped. Finally, there is Taoist Suzhen, one of the 3 immortals of Yuntai. He has only broken through to the great Luo Celestial Immortal in a short period of time, and his realm is still at the early stage of the great Luo Celestial Immortal. But what he understood was the way of wind. Because Taoism is the lowest, he finished it the fastest among the 3 immortals. Next is Zhen Yuanzi. Countless monks who practice civil engineering all have the highest expectations for this famous old immortal. Although Zhen Yuanzi was not a Taoist, he preached with all his heart. Let's talk about Wu Tu first, then King Mu, from the realm of Tai Golden Immortal, to Deluo Celestial Immortal, and then to Deluo True Immortal. I talked for half a day. It is far longer than the 3 immortals of Yuntai combined. Su Junming gained a lot. To be more precise, it should be that the Dragon Emperor has gained a lot. The latter is the 7 spirits Dharma body, connected with the spirit and soul, and connected with the Great Road. Su Junming's understanding is the Dragon Emperor's understanding. The Tao of the 5 elements is the main method of cultivation of the Dragon Emperor. This time, with the help of Zhen Yuanzi, Aoki, and Wu Tu took a big step forward. If wood is used to aid fire, earth is used to generate metal, and the 5 elements are used to generate restraints, the 3 paths of Bing fire, Gen metal, and Kuishui will follow suit. At the end of Zhen Yuan's sermon, he received far more thanks than the three immortals of Yuntai. This is understandable, except that he talks a lot and is profound. What's more important is that at least half of the righteous people in the spiritual world take the five elements as the fundamental path. The four are wind, thunder, yin, yang, and sword. The remaining 10% is caused by causes and effects, creation, heavenly craftsmanship, martial arts, and other Taoism. The reason for this is not only that the five elements, yin and yang, wind and thunder and other Taoist methods are easier to comprehend, it is also because their inheritance is far richer than cause and effect, creation, etc., and there are more experiences to be found. Over time, the strong will become stronger and the weak will become weaker. Except for a few major sects, there are few Taoist inheritances such as cause and effect, time and space among casual practitioners. After Zhen Yuanzi sat down, everyone present looked at Su Junming. There was scrutiny, even contempt in his eyes. Obviously, everyone thinks that he is sitting here relying on the power of his sect and has no real ability at all. Only a few people who have listened to Su Junming's sermons, such as Zhen Yuanzi and Lishan Laomu, know that Su Junming, whose cultivation level is only Tai Jingxian, has advanced his Taoism to the Deluo realm early on. Facing the suspicious and even lively looks from around him, Su Junming urged Bai Hua to sit down and slowly fly up into the air. If we are just talking about some pediatrics about the Tai Golden Immortal Realm, it would be better not to waste our time, Luo Yan said sarcastically. Although he knew that Chongshan Academy was not easy to mess with, he was not afraid at all because of his self-cultivation and the fact that he had his master Hua Zhenjun Luo Xian behind him. Although Luo Xian is no longer in this world, people who worship the mountain will go to the ancient world to practice sooner or later. If they dare to deal with themselves, they will have their mentors to help them regain some ground in the future. Our Lao Luo also has a background. Due to this consideration, and the fact that he looked down on Su Junming, a Tai Golden Immortal, sitting in a crowd of De Luo monks with a decent appearance, he felt that it was beneath his status. That's why he uttered evil words. Many times, hostility comes out of nowhere. My master has a profound realm and his understanding of the Dao is much better than your red-haired son, she sneered unceremoniously. Damn it, how dare you, Junior, laugh at me. Luo Yan, who has red hair and beard, has a fiery temperament and hates others laughing at his appearance, especially as a junior in the Tai realm. Rolling fire rose into the sky. Before it completely erupted, it was blocked by a bolt of thunder, a hurricane, and a blue wood gas. Wuozi looked cold. Fellow Daoist Luo, do you want to disrupt our Yuntai Immortal Association? As the person who organized the Yuntai Immortal Association, Luo Yan's move was like a slap in the face in front of thousands of monks. Looking at the expressions of the three of them, no matter how arrogant Luo Yan was, he would not dare to act out. Behind him was the true monarch of Huad, the immortal in flames Luo Xian, but behind him stood the most famous person in the world, the faintest person who could explain the teaching, the true immortal of fortune, Yun Zongzi. It is said that this king has killed 3 corpses and achieved the wonderful realm of Hunyuan. Not to mention his master Luo Xian, even Empress Sangxiao, who was born in Zhejiao and served with the 7 immortals, was not even close to him. With scruples, Luo Yan slowly withdrew his magic power. 3 Taoist friends have misunderstood. The poor Taoist has no intention of disrupting the Yuntai Immortal Association. It's just that the junior does not know the importance of the matter, has no respect for his elders, and talks arrogantly. He has the intention to teach him a lesson. No matter what the reason is, you are not allowed to disrupt the Yuntai Immortal Association, otherwise don't blame us for being rude. Luo Yan looked ugly. He could see that the 3 immortals of Yuntai intended to protect the junior Chongshan. After snorting coldly, he didn't say anything. Su Junming saw everything in his eyes. After glancing at Luo Yan with indifferent eyes, he continued to talk about Taoism. Gradually, an oval dome the size of half an acre appeared 3 feet above the head. The egg is pitch black, with a faint mist looming, as if there is an infinite space hidden inside. Soon Luo Yan and most of the people discovered that they couldn't understand what Su Junming said at all. However, the Tao charm emanating from the other party and the illusion produced after speaking the mysterious sound and connecting with the Dao told them that the other party was not deceiving. It's Huishan Taoism. Anyone with knowledge will understand instantly. Unfortunately, the Huishan Taoism is too profound and has few inheritances. Even among the disciples of the great sect, there are few who can comprehend this Tao to the realm of Tai Golden Immortal. The Luo realm is even less so. The only one who can understand is Zhen Yuanzi. Seeing this, Su Junming decisively put down the Huishan Taoist method and began to explain the 5 elements. Starting from the Golden Path, the realm of Tai Golden Immortal reaches the perfection of De Luo Celestial Immortal. The black dome turned into a golden aura of about half an acre. Behind them are wood, water, fire, and earth. The illusion keeps evolving. That's it for everyone else. When Luo Yan heard what happened, his face became even more ugly. Because what the other party said was far more profound than the way of Binghuo he had comprehended. If he went up to preach next and could not compare with the other party, compared with the sarcasm at the beginning, it would be a slap in the face in front of everyone. Because Su Junming spent more time explaining the 5 elements than Zhen Yuanzi. It took a full day before he stopped. The 20-odd De Luo below had complicated expressions, and the eyes of 3,000 Tai showed disbelief, as well as deep gratitude and reverence. Nearly half of the monks have benefited greatly from preaching. Thank you so much, Lord Chongshan. The thanks this time were louder than any before. After smiling and nodding, Su Junming slowly fell down. I didn't expect fellow Daoist Su to have such a profound understanding of the 5 elements, Wachenza said in a message. Fellow Taoist, wonderful compliments. I major in Huishan Taoism. Unfortunately, most people here do not practice this Taoism, so it is useless to teach it. Therefore, I taught my third junior brother the 5 elements Tao as written. I see. Although he said this, Wachenza was a little confused. When the other party was explaining the 5 elements Dao just now, he spoke mysterious sounds, and the illusion that was produced after connecting with the Dao was not like a fake. If we just follow the script, there will be no such illusion in our school. Of course, it is not ruled out that Su Junming has other wonderful ways to activate the 5 elements. But he always felt that the other party was not like that. But a person who can understand the way of space to the realm of De Luo, and is also proficient in the way of alchemy, does not seem to be someone who can understand the 5 elements path to the realm of De Luo. After all, we are all human, and no matter how high our understanding is, there is a limit. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Become a disciple of Taoist priest 4 eyes. Author, Dong Ren. Chapter 955. Master, look at that guy's expression. He is completely different from before, Sun Shi said through the voice transmission. Glancing at Luo Yan, Su Junming smiled faintly. If this guy's cultivation in the Binghuo way is not as good as his own, let's see how he handles himself in front of everyone. The sermon begins in order of seating. After Su Junming finished speaking, it was Luo Yan's turn to sit next to Zhen Yuanzi. Friend Luo, it's your turn, Su Junming said calmly. Luo Yan's expression changed and he opened his mouth, but nothing came out. Looking at the concerned eyes around him, Luo Yan hesitated for a while. It would be more embarrassing to leave at this time. With no way to retreat, he gritted his teeth and urged the white flowers to fly high into the sky. After taking a deep breath, he closed his eyes slightly and began to preach. Along with Swanyan, half an acre of golden red flames appeared 3 feet above the head. Although it was just an illusion, one could clearly feel a powerful heat. From the Tai Golden Immortal to the late stage of the Deluo realm, everything about the Binghuo Way is explained. Su Junming listened and couldn't help but nodded secretly. Although this Luo Yan is arrogant, his aptitude and understanding are top-notch, and his practice of the Way of Flame is superior to that of most Deluo realm monks here. No wonder he is so arrogant. He is indeed not a common person. Even so, it was still lagging behind the Dragon Emperor's understanding of the Way of Binghuo. After finishing speaking, the white flowers fell off in a hurry, and his face didn't look very good. Also, the way he understood was not as good as the person he had always despised. To him, it was simply a naked humiliation. It turns out that's all he has. Although Sun Shi's voice was soft, the person present was not a sharp-sighted person. Luo Yan's complexion instantly turned into pig liver. It's hard to say that your skills are not as good as others. This is a pain. My master is a great Luo Tianxian. In terms of ability, he is 100 times stronger than your master. The young man sitting behind Luo Yan, wearing a red Taoist robe and carrying a red gourd on his back, said loudly. He, if my master had not practiced both martial arts and Dao, he would have accomplished it long ago if he wanted to build a supreme foundation for the future Hunyuan wonderland. Hunyuan? What nonsense are you bragging about? Let's go through the great Luo heavenly tribulation first. Sun Shigong was about to fight back, but was stopped by Su Junming. Arguing in words serves no purpose other than a meaningless waste of time. Moreover, in full view of the public, they were so noisy that they also lost the image of Chongshan Academy as a prestigious sect. Just give him a beating later. Master still understands. After this episode, Fu Yun's sermon came next. Although Leguan Taoism and Lejun Temple inherit taking Taoism, their inheritance is completely different. Leguan Taoism is mainly based on taking Kendo, which emphasizes that one sword can defeat all kinds of magic. Lejun Guan specializes in alchemy. The master of the temple, Taoist Chang Jing, is one of the few masters in the earthly immortal world who can refine De Luo Ling Dan. Because they come from the same lineage, Leguan Taoism and Lejun Guan are the closest among the four major sects of Dongsheng Shenzhou. In contrast, the Yuntai immortal sect and the Quanzhen Taoist lineage of Yu King Yunzong's lineage seem to be inseparable, but make people laugh at them. Fu Yun's swordsmanship has reached the middle stage of De Luo. For Su Junming, although swordsmanship has been integrated into martial arts, it still provides great inspiration. It is rumored that Fu Fengzi, the leader of Leguan Taoism, has reached the peak of De Luo Tianxian in swordsmanship. I don't know if it is true or not, Su Junming thought to himself. After Fu Yunzi, there is Xiu Taoist, the master of Zishao Temple in Dongsheng Shenzhou. This monarch practices Chunyang Taoism and has an extraordinary state. However, Su Junming is more looking forward to Taoist Chang Kong's sermon, so that he can get a glimpse of the mystery of taking alchemy. Fudan is the essence of heaven and earth. It collects the elixir of the 5 elements, combines yin and yang, and gathers Canli. Taoist Chang Kong did not explain the specific alchemy techniques and prescriptions. This is a secret that Lejun Temple does not teach, and it is understandable even if he does not explain it. But what the other party said was taking's understanding of alchemy, such as the magical uses of gentle fire and martial fire, how to evaluate herbal medicine, how to refine the essence, etc. It was of great help to Su Junming. Stones from other mountains can attack jade. This is especially true for an ever-changing and extremely complex avenue like alchemy. Later, De Luo preached one by one, and Su Junming gradually sank into it. With the help of bronze mirrors, draw inferences from one instance to other cases. The 5 elements, yin and yang, control, creation and other Taoist methods are all a great step forward. After the last sermon by Jing Qinzi of the Luofu sect from Nanzan Buzhu was finished, Su Junming slowly opened his eyes. The harvest of this Yuntai Immortal Association, not to mention other things, is just this sermon is enough. In just 1 month, he at least saved 2 months of hard work. Dong, the mighty bells rang again, but this time there were only 3 instead of the original 9. Wioza looked around at the practitioners and said in a loud voice, "This ends the sermon. You should practice diligently in the future so that you can live up to our kindness in preaching today. I will obey the orders of my seniors." Wioza nodded and said, "The next step is the exchange session. All the cultivators present, who have Deludo spiritual materials and want to exchange what they need, can bring them to the front." After saying that, he stretched out his hand and pointed. Among the Deludo monks, a 9-foot-long white spirit flower suddenly bloomed, rising higher and higher at the same time, appearing in everyone's eyes. The worry-free sun flew down from the spiritual flower, and the Taoist robe flew everywhere. As a landlord, I am the first to offer advice. When he patted the Dharma bag on his waist, 3 apricots, which were blue in color but had purple lines, emerged. Fengling Xiangxing. Who in the entire earthly immortal world knows the name of the highest grade spiritual root of Yuntai immortal sect, wind and thunder immortal apricot? This is a top-notch spiritual fruit that can be compared with the heavenly purple pattern peach. However, unlike the thousands of purple striped peach trees in heaven, it is said that the Yuntai immortal sect has only cultivated 9 trees after hundreds of thousands of years of accumulation. If one is taken down, the power of wind and thunder can cut down the hair and cleanse the marrow, turning it into an innate body. The innate spirit body is the top qualification in the spiritual world, second only to the innate spirit. As all my colleagues have seen, the objects in my palm are 3 Fengling Xingxing. If you are interested, you can exchange them for 3 Deludo spirit pills or a piece of Deludo lower piece of spiritual material. After hearing these words, the fire in the eyes of many Tai golden immortals instantly subsided. Although the Deludo spiritual materials in the earthly immortal world are not rare, they are not too many. Of course, if you take it out for exchange, you have to weigh it carefully. Before they could think about it, a voice instantly attracted everyone. "I'll change." Taoist Chang Kong swallowed the words that were on his lips. Seeing that Su Junming had thrown out a porcelain bottle next to him, he flew towards Wioza with his magic power. The latter took it, opened it, and took a look, with a smile on his face. Although he didn't know how to make elixirs, he could still tell the grade. 3 Deludo low-grade Earth Emperor blood replenishing pills are exchanged for Taoist friends immortal apricots, Su Junming said in a message. With his method, using 3 Fengling apricots as the main medicine, and supplementing it with part of the main medicine, he can completely refine the 3 furnaces of Great Ludo spiritual pill. With several times the harvest, he will naturally not fall behind others. Fellow Taoist, please keep it. 3 wind and thunder apricots slowly flew towards Su Junming. Put it away with a wave of your hand. The poor Taoist has been exchanged and listed as a Taoist friend. If anyone has any treasures, please come forward. Let me do it. Zhen Yuanzi flew up. There are also 3 spiritual fruits in one shot. It is slightly larger than an adult's hand and looks like a child. Its milky white skin is wrapped with a rich aura. Ginseng spiritual fruit. The first spiritual root recognized by everyone in the earthly immortal world. Of course, the ginseng fruit trees in the earthly immortal realm must have acquired spiritual roots. However, under Zhen Yuanzi's careful cultivation, the ginseng spiritual fruits produced were all of the highest quality in Deludo. This is undoubtedly beyond the boundaries of heaven and earth in the earthly immortal world. It is undoubtedly more precious. Seeing them, everyone's eyes lit up, and the Deludo were even more ready to move. Taking note of everyone's performance, Zhen Yuanzi smiled. These 3 ginseng spiritual fruits are exchanged for 30 million soul essences, or 3 high-grade Deludo elixirs that can repair the soul. As soon as this statement came out, everyone frowned instantly. The essence of 30 million souls requires 30 million human or demon souls to refine. There are all righteous people here, and no one would commit such a heinous crime. Occasionally kill the demons in the cholera world, and collect some, but it is just an accident. 30 million. As for Delugo's top-grade elixir, it can repair the soul. Even Tai's Hanglajun may not be able to refine it. It's not that the skill of alchemy is not enough, but that it is limited by the way of heaven in the earthly and immortal world. Regardless of the level of cultivation, spiritual materials, elixirs, magic weapons, etc., they must not exceed the middle level of Delugo or the realm of Delugo true immortal. Of course, an ancient power like Zhenyuanzi may be able to break through the limitations of heaven, just like he can cultivate ginseng fruits into high-grade Delugo. But seeing him appear here today and having an open exchange, you know that Tai's Hanglajun definitely didn't get what he wanted. Su Junming's eyes flickered. He has 5 Taiyan soul replenishing pills that he got from the Yeyu Palace in Kongsang Mountain, but these 5 spiritual pills are all the best in Delugo. Although 3 ginseng fruits are precious, there is still a long way to go in exchange for one of Delugo's best elixirs. Just when he hesitated, Luo Yan suddenly took action. A black jade box flew towards Zhenyuanzi. After the latter got it, he looked at it and exchanged 3 ginseng fruits. Both parties communicated with their spiritual consciousness, and no one knew what they said. But looking at the quality of the black jade box and the faint hint of aura revealed, you know that it is not filled with elixirs, but the essence of 30 million souls. After getting 3 ginseng fruits, Luo Yan, who had always been stinking, finally looked much better. After looking at him, Su Junming flew forward. Facing everyone's gaze, he waved his right hand, and 3 elixirs with flashing spiritual light and rich medicinal essence appeared in front of everyone. 3 Delugo low-grade chi replenishing elixirs Delugo Huangdan will be exchanged first for Delugo spiritual roots, then for Delugo grade spiritual materials, and finally for the jade plates left over from ancient times. If the items exchanged by the various channels are more valuable than the 3 elixirs of Pandeo, I can also increase the number of elixirs according to the value. If there is a channel that takes out Delugo's middle-grade spiritual root treasures, Pandeo also has Delugo's middle-grade spiritual root treasures. In exchange for the chi-boosting elixir Delugo de Huangdan. As he spoke, a spiritual elixir the size of a dragon's eye, dozens of times more powerful in medicinal energy, and emitting red, yellow, and blue divine light, appeared in front of the cultivators. Become a disciple of Taoist priest 4 eyes. Author, Dong Ren. Chapter 956. Regardless of Tai or Delugo, those who can participate in the Yuntai Immortal meeting are all strong men in the Taoist sect, with extraordinary vision and rich experience. The preciousness of the 2 elixirs can be seen at a glance. The noise rose. This is Delugo's low and middle grade chitinifying elixir, not Chinese cabbage. But from Su Junming's tone, it seems there are quite a few. Everyone was whispering to each other, and soon someone stood up. There are many kinds of spiritual materials, and even if you get them, they may not be suitable for your own use, but elixirs are different. Especially the chi-boosting elixir, basically everyone can use it. However, elixirs of this level are extremely rare in the world of cultivation, especially among casual cultivators. Now that I have the opportunity, I certainly won't lag behind. Genren, I have a Delugo low-grade sweet spring herb here, in exchange for Genren's elixir. Master, I have a fire spirit stone here. Genren, I have a ball of Biming spiritual water here, in exchange for Genren's 3 spiritual pills. Su Junming accepted all comers without rejecting them. For him, refining Delugo's low-grade elixir is no longer difficult. The great magical power of Time Dao, return to origin, can also make all waste elixirs reusable. With a nearly 100% elixir forming rate, coupled with the abundant elixirs on the Creation Spirit Island and Immortal Island, Su Junming had no less than 100 pills of Delugo Ren Huangdan in his hand. And this is only the part given to the disciples, otherwise there would be more. After exchanging more than a dozen pieces of Deluo low-grade spiritual materials in a row. Seeing the spiritual elixir reappearing, everyone around them was shocked. This is too much. When did Deluo Lingdan become Chinese cabbage? Taoist Chang Kong saw this and frowned. Next to Zhen Yuanzi, Lashin Mother, and others were thoughtful. No one is a fool. It is absolutely impossible to get so many elixirs just by searching for treasures. In this case, it is not difficult to guess its origin. After the Tai golden immortals who were swarming in wanting to exchange stopped speaking, the Deluo monks who had been extremely reserved before finally spoke. But it was beyond Su Junming's expectation. Fellow Taoist Su, I don't want the elixir. How about exchanging this empty grass for the piece of Western real gold you just got? Taoist Ziu, the master of Zishao Temple in Dongsheng Shenzhou, said. Su Junming did receive a piece of real Western gold just now. He glanced at the Deluo low-grade spiritual grass in the opponent's hand and thought about it for a while. With the quality of your Kongming grass, you can only get 3 taels of spiritual gold. Taoist Ziu nodded, the price is very fair. Su Junming used the space blade to cut off 3 taels, held them up with magic power, and let them go. After the two exchanged. A middle-aged Taoist wearing a green Taoist robe, an iron crown, a short beard on his chin, huge eyes and purple pupils flashing sat down and the white flowers slowly flew up. Su Junming is no stranger to this person either. Qian Xian, the leader of the Shenmue sect of Dongsheng Shenzhou, is a mid-level Deluo celestial immortal and is extremely famous in the cultivation world of Dongsheng Shenzhou. Another thing that needs to be mentioned is that the Shenmue sect is a magical sect, and all the Taoism in the sect is related to the eyes. Among them, the purple thunder divine eye, the red fire spiritual eye and the Fi'u phantom eye are the 3 major divine eyes in the immortal world that the Shenmue sect is famous for. Qian Xian, the leader of the divine eye sect, is a practitioner of the purple thunder divine eye. After giving each other a slap in the face, Qian Xian slapped the magic bag, and a dead branch that was half green and half black flew out. Taoist fellow Taoist, let's see how much this item is worth. Su Junming waved and took it over, his pupils narrowed slightly. It felt the extremely rich innate greenwood aura in the half green and half black branches. Moreover, it is also a Tai Chi level among the 5 innate Tai Chi. Obviously, the mother body of this dead branch is a high-grade innate spiritual root. But now it is only regarded as a high-grade spiritual material in Deluo, and because it has been too long, the innate spiritual energy in it has been lost, and its value has dropped a lot. No wonder Qian Xian would use him to exchange for his Deluo de Huangdan. How many do you want, fellow Taoist Qian? Although his alchemy skills are constantly improving, it is still not easy to refine Deluo's middle-grade elixir. After Chen Xianzang took away some of the Deluo de Huangdan in his hand, only 18 pills were left. This is the result of his years of accumulation. 9. Qian Xian thought for a while and then said. Shaked his head. Although this dead branch is Deluo's top-grade spiritual material, too much of the greenwood spiritual energy has been lost. So I can only give you 5. His eyes glowing with purple glow looked deeply at Su Junming, and after a while, he nodded. Can. He patted the storage gourd on his waist, and a red gourd flew out. Fellow Taoist, please take a look. After Qian Xian took it and looked at it, he handed the dead branch to Su Junming and caused the white flowers to fly down to their place. Seeing the person who had been identified as his enemy acquiring rare treasures in large sums, Luo Yan became jealous and went crazy in his heart. Su Junming, the Yuntai Immortal Association is not run by your family. Don't you think it has been too long to occupy the prestigious position? He glanced at Luo Yan and ignored him. Slap the storage gourd on your waist. Several rays of spiritual light flew out. They are all Deluo level elixirs. The Deluo form refining pill can recast the foundation, the 3 UN soul refining pill can repair soul injuries, The Shangyuan soul refining pill can purify the soul and eradicate evil thoughts. The Earth Emperor blood replenishing pill can replenish qi and blood and repair the physical body. Injuries. The Earth Emperor toxin eliminating pill can remove the toxins from the lower grade deluo and effectively suppress the toxins from the middle grade deluo. There are 5 kinds of great luo spiritual pills, including the previous qi building pills, covering almost all commonly used pills in the world of cultivation. Such a generous act almost stunned everyone around him. Except for Tai's Hang Lejun's Tushita Palace, no one has ever heard of such a rich supply of deluo elixirs. Even Taoist Lejun Guan Changjing is only good at refining qi building pills and healing pills due to limited materials and skills. Seeing everyone's disbelief, Su Junming smiled calmly. Now that the news about Chongshan Academy's refining of deluo grade elixir has been leaked to Yuntai Immortal Sect, naturally they don't mind letting more people know. The resources of the entire Taoist sect are dozens of times richer than those of the Yuntai Immortal Sect. May I ask Master Su, are these elixirs refined by your sect? Someone finally asked the question that more and more people want to know. The fish finally took the bait. Thinking of this, he nodded affirmatively. My 4th junior brother Ao Tian is good at refining elixirs, and these elixirs are all made by him. As soon as he finished speaking, there was a commotion. Although it quickly subsided, the atmosphere was inexplicably more exciting. And the people around him looked at Taoist Chang Kong intentionally or unintentionally, with a hint of exploration in their eyes. Taoist Chang Kong frowned slightly. There is no doubt that the emergence of Chongshan has impacted Lejun Guan's monopoly on deluo Lingdan. Although the Earth Immortal Realm is vast and can accommodate 2 sects capable of refining the great luo spiritual pill, competition will definitely curb Lejun Guan's transcendent status. Taking a deep breath, under the attention of everyone, Taoist Chang Kong smiled and said, "It's really gratifying. Finally, in our immortal world, another alchemist who can refine the great luo spirit pill has appeared. Clever." Many people secretly praised it. Since it is impossible to suppress competitors, it is far better to make good friends in time and discuss it together to safeguard each other's interests than to lose both sides. Su Junming looked at him deeply and said, "I hope that I can exchange more alchemy experiences with Lao Zhongguan in the future, and contribute to the development of the Taoist sect and the future of the earthly immortal world." The 2 sides' eyes met, and each understood the other's plan. "I dare to ask Master, is the Chongshan sect willing to make elixirs for us?" A Tai monk wearing a green robe asked. Chongshan Academy also participates in the Taoist sect, so naturally it must do its best for the development of the Taoist section. The green-robed monk looked happy and continued. "I wonder what the conditions are for making alchemy. Similar to the current standard in the practice world, 2 parts of medicinal materials and 1 part of pills." Hearing this, Taoist Chang Kong breathed a sigh of relief. This is the rule set by their Lejun Guan, and the Chongshan sect is willing to abide by it, which shows the other party's goodwill. I wonder what the rate of Ao Genren's elixir refining is. Quanzhen Taoist Supreme Elder Songfeng Taoist suddenly asked. The rate of deluo's lower grade pills becoming elixirs is 30 to 40%, the chance of middle grade elixirs becoming elixirs is 10 to 20%, and the rate of high grade elixirs depends on luck. Everyone here who has a certain level of alchemy knowledge has a look of surprise on their faces. Deluo level elixir is of this level, it is already very strong. Except for Tai's Hang Lejun, the founder of alchemy, even Taoist Changjing, the master of Lejun Temple, is not far behind. In addition, my 4th junior brother has a withdrawn temperament and is devoted to studying alchemy. Therefore, he only likes to refine deluo elixirs and does not accept any elixirs under deluo. The Tai Golden Immortals present here are undoubtedly a little disappointed, but the deluo people don't care. The elixir they need is of course deluo series. After seeing no one asked again, the exchange continued. No matter what happens in the future, the rich categories of elixirs brought by Su Junming are needed by almost every monk. Healing, strengthening the soul, detoxifying, there is always one suitable for you. Most of the 20-odd Luo people exchanged one or more elixirs from Su Junming. Su Junming also harvested more than 30 treasures. Most of them are Deluo level spiritual fruits and spiritual herbs. This kind of thing is renewable, and all major factions have accumulated some. It would be a good idea to exchange it. In fact, what is better than spiritual fruits and spiritual herbs are ancient jade discs. Each major sect has some, and the contents are all repeated, which can be called a business without capital. But no one thought that there would be people at the Yuntai Fairy Fair who wanted these, so they brought very few. After a while, no one was around before Su Junming returned to his seat. Such a high-profile performance certainly attracted countless envious and even jealous looks. But he didn't care either. Now the strength of Chongshan Academy is enough to stop the covetous from all directions. This is also the reason why he exposed his alchemy ability. Moreover, he also plans to make his weapon refining ability public in a while, but he will also put his name on Dragon Emperor and Renwuji. Before reaching the peak of strength, one must always be wary of things like Mushiu Yulin. There is no doubt that Su Junming's elixir has solved the needs of many people. As a result, the subsequent exchanges became watery, much less than expected. But not everyone needs elixirs. There are also people who plan to refine weapons in exchange for the spiritual materials they need. Thanks to book friend M. Luo Yan for the 100 starting coin reward, thank you very much. Become a disciple of Taoist priest for us. Author, Dong Ren. Chapter 957. Su Junming occasionally participated and used the materials he had accumulated in daily life to exchange for a lot of spiritual materials. But most of them are Deluo low-grade spiritual materials. Deluo mid-grade only has one ice crystal divine iron, and Deluo high-grade and above, there is even none. Seeing that most of the 27 Deluo from the Yuntai Immortal Society have already taken the field, Su Junming couldn't help but feel disappointed. Although he had gained a lot today, what really surprised him was the dead branch he had just exchanged from Jianxian, the leader of the Shenmue sect. Finally, a young man wearing a black robe, carrying a magic sword on his back, and a golden rope around his waist, with a solemn expression, flew onto the white flower in the middle. This person is a casual cultivator in Luzhu, Beiju, and is also a member of the Taoist section. He also practices Sword Dao and Ice Dao. He has outstanding talent. He has only practiced for 10,000 years and is already in the late stage of Deluo Celestial Immortal. Very famous among casual cultivators. His name is Ice Sword Master Shangguan Hanyuan. After looking around at everyone, this gentleman looked directly at Wuozi. This place is too small for my things. How big do you want it to be? Wuozi asked. At least 100,000 feet. 100,000 feet. Everyone exclaimed. Wuozi couldn't help but look shocked. Really? Shangguan Hanyuan nodded affirmatively. After taking a deep look at him, Wuozi stretched out his hand. The white flowers at Shangguan Hanyuan's feet swelled rapidly. At the same time, the white flowers where everyone was sitting cross-legged and the red flowers where Tai Golden Immortal was sitting cross-legged quickly retreated into the distance. Gradually, the white flower, which was only 9 feet in diameter, turned into a behemoth with a diameter of 100,000 feet. As the venue for the Yuntai Immortal Association and the core hall of the Yuntai Immortal sect, everything inside is equipped with exquisite formations and restrictions. After everything stabilized, under the leadership of the 3 immortals of Yuntai, everyone flew above the white flowers of 100,000 feet, looking at Shangguan Hanyuan with curious and expectant eyes. The latter patted the purple bag on his waist. In an instant, the sight of all the immortals suddenly went dark. With a boom, the white flowers trembled violently, and the bursting air flew in all directions. The huge movement caused all the immortals to look around quickly. When he saw a giant black palm that weighed 10,000 feet, the white flower trembled under its weight, as if it was about to break at any moment. Wuoza's heart trembled, her hands danced like the wind, rich spiritual energy flew over, and the white flowers gradually stabilized. Look again. The giant black palm had sharp nails and long fingers, and its surface was covered with strong triangular scales. It looks a little shriveled, with most of the flesh and blood gone. A rotten death energy lingers around it, and it has obviously been cut off for endless years. Even so, everyone felt a strong aura from above. One can imagine how powerful its owner was at his peak. Everyone looked at this huge palm and was shocked. This palm was accidentally obtained by me on the seabed of the North Sea. Although it has been ravaged by time, it is extremely strong and cannot be damaged by swords. So I want to exchange this item for a Deluo Lingbao with ice attribute and 6 treasures. The first to 3rd level treasures are Deluo lower grade spiritual treasures. The 4th to 6th Taoist treasures are Deluo middle grade spiritual treasures. The 7 to 9 Taoist treasures are Deluo's top grade spiritual treasures. The 10 to 12 treasures are Deluo's top grade spiritual treasures. The Deluo Lingbao of the 6 Paths treasure forbidden is the highest grade acquired Lingbao allowed by the heavenly Dao in the earthly immortal realm. After hearing his conditions, those who were originally interested in this black giant palm instantly frowned. The Deluo Lingbao of the 6 Paths treasure taboo is already a headache, and the opponent also requires ice attributes. Among the more than 20 Deluo present, there may not be one who can meet this condition. As an ancient immortal, Zhen Yuanzi has a rich collection, so Shangguan Hanyun's exchange target is mainly him. Seeing his gaze, Zhen Yuanzi shook his head. If it's just a top-notch middle-grade Deluo Lingbao, I have it in my hand, but it fits the way of ice. He said and shook his head. Shangguan Hanyun couldn't help but look disappointed. Then he looked at the Yuntai 3 immortals. As the largest sect in the Taoist sect, the Yuntai immortal sect has a profound foundation and a rich collection. It's a pity that the 3 immortals of Yuntai have no intention of speaking. Looking at them one by one, my heart gradually sank. This black giant palm is very powerful, but it's a pity that he doesn't know how to refine weapons, so he can only keep it in his hand as a collection. Just when he was disappointed, a familiar voice came into his ears. I have a 5-level forbidden spirit treasure here, the great Luo spirit treasure of the ice path. You can take a look. Shangguan Hanyun turned his head suddenly. It's him. Su Junming smiled and spread his left hand. A frost-white bead the size of an adult's fist slowly emerged. I Soul Divine Bead. It's a coincidence. Some time ago, Su Huang sent a piece of Deluo level innate ice jade and wanted him to help refine a Deluo middle grade spiritual treasure. This I Soul Divine Bead is the result of half a month of refining under the power of time of the Hunyuan Divine Sect. With his current weapon refining ability and the foundation of the innate ice jade, the 5 spiritual restraints are approaching their limits. If his weapon refining ability goes further, he might be able to refine the 6th spiritual barrier, but that's obviously not possible now. Real person, can I take a look first? Su Junming nodded, and flew over with his magic power holding the I Soul Divine Orb. This treasure contains his spiritual consciousness, so he is not afraid of it being taken away. Shangguan Hanyun took it and his spiritual consciousness was immersed in it. The 5 lavender restrictions are like heavenly creations, neatly arranged and nested inside each other, revealing a kind of orderly beauty. If you look closely, you will see that the divine patterns in each restriction are extremely refined. If you add 1, it will be more, and if you subtract 1, it will be less. The potential of the spiritual materials is cleverly brought out almost perfectly. Shangguan Hanyun has seen many Deluo level spiritual treasures, but when it comes to skills, none of them can compare with this bead. After reading it, he fell in love immediately. At the same time, he also understood that this was probably the highest grade ice spirit treasure he could obtain. Not being a fussy person, he nodded quickly. I changed it? Su Junming smiled. The right hand shook. A ray of green light flew straight towards Shangguan Hanyuan. The latter caught it and looked at the green gourd in his hand with surprise on his face. I'm not taking advantage of you either. There are 36 Deluo Huang pills in it to make up for the price difference. Everyone around listened and praised Su Junming for his benevolence and righteousness as the leader of the great sect. Thank you. Shangguan Hanyuan was also surprised by his sincerity. After smiling and nodding, Su Junming waved his right hand, and a giant palm measuring 100,000 feet suddenly appeared in mid-air. With a grab in the air, the giant black palm on the white flower disappeared instantly. Everyone saw it and marveled at the mystery of this magical power. Zhen Yuan's eyes flashed slightly. It's somewhat similar to the Buddha kingdom in the palm. It's a pity that he didn't talk about Huashan Taoism for long just now, otherwise we can get a glimpse of it. Although he entered Taoism through civil engineering, Zhen Yuanzi also had profound attainments in Huashan Taoism. The universe in the sleeve is the great magical power he learned from Huashan Taoism. The great immortal attained enlightenment in ancient times. Do you know the origin of that giant black palm? Wuozi, the third immortal of Yuntai, asked. After Zhen Yuanzi pondered for a while, he slowly shook his head. I can't tell. But judging from the aura of the giant black palm, its owner must be a powerful person of Hunyuan level. With just one glance, he could only see this much. Only by using the treasure mirror of heaven and earth to illuminate it can we understand more. But this thing has already fallen into Su Junming's hands, and he doesn't want to cause trouble. After Shangguan Hanyuan, no monk came to power again. The communication session ends here. There is no doubt that Su Junming got the most. Whether it was the more than 30 Deluo spiritual objects previously exchanged for elixirs, or the giant black palm obtained later, they were all coveted treasures. Luo Yan looked vaguely at the green-robed Taoist sitting cross-legged on the white flowers with a calm expression in the distance. A trace of strong greed flashed in his eyes, but he quickly suppressed it. Wuozi flew into the air. The sound is like a loud bell. This is the end of the communication session. Next is the battle of skills. Only young disciples of the Tai Golden Immortal Realm can participate. Yuntai Xianhui fights for the sake of practicing Taoism and gaining experience among the disciples. It is not for the sake of bravery and ruthlessness. Therefore, there is no reward for the top 3. Anyone who can advance to the top 12 will receive a Fenglingzingzing from our Yuntai Immortal Sect and enter the Kailan Pavilion of our Yuntai Immortal Sect to study for 10 years. Kailan Pavilion is the library of the Yuntai Xian section. In addition to the Xiangong of the Yuntai Xian sect, it also contains all the classics collected by the Xian sect over hundreds of thousands of years since its establishment, as well as the cultivation experiences left by the Yuntai Xian sect monks in the past generations. If you can study it for 10 years, it will undoubtedly be a great opportunity. Okay, I believe you all have heard what the old Taoists said. Now the young disciples who want to participate in the fight should come to the front and line up on the bamboo flower. Hey, master, disciple, go try it. Sun Shi, who had been waiting for this moment for a long time, said impatiently. Go ahead. Monkeys are very active, and Su Junming did not deliberately stop him. He turned around and flew up to the 10,000-foot bamboo flower, and then started to challenge the young man in red robe behind Luo Yan. Hey, you pretty boy wearing women's clothes, do you dare to come forward and fight with your grandpa's son? The young man in red robe was furious. Master, let me go and give this monkey a good beating, so that he will know how powerful our Jijiao Fire Dragon Island lineage is. Luo Yan glanced at the thin monkey wearing a yellow robe, and then at Su Junming who was sitting cross-legged next to him. He thought for a moment, waved his left hand, and 2 spiritual lights flew into the body of the red-robed young man. If you hold my Fiyian sword, you can only win but not lose. The young man in red robe looked surprised and nodded vigorously. Teacher, don't worry. With the Fiyian sword in hand, my disciple will definitely look good on that hosen. Go ahead. After the young man in red robe bowed, he activated his magic power and flew over. Falling on the bamboo flower, looking at the hosen 3 feet away, the young man in red robe looked proud. You'd better pray that you don't meet me, otherwise you will know how powerful I am at intercepting and teaching Fire Dragon Island Tiantian's spiritual fire. Hey, who can't boast nonsense? If you have the ability, you can see the truth. Sun Shi showed no sign of weakness. While the two were bickering, people kept flying up from around them. However, not everyone is interested in fighting. The rewards for 10 years of enlightenment from Fenglacian and Kylan Pavilion are not very generous. Many people who are self-aware and conceited that they can't make it into the top 12 simply don't bother to come up. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Become a disciple of Taoist priest 4 eyes. Author, Dong Ren. Chapter 958. Finally, when Wachenza started to do the tapping, there were only 537 Tai golden immortals standing on the bamboo flower in the middle. The 537 Tai golden immortals who participated in the fight were divided into 12 groups by Wuozi. Due to the difference in the number of people, each group has 44 people, competing in pairs. There were 9 more players who received buys in the first round. 9 people were drawn by lots, and Sun Shi was lucky enough to get a buy in the first round. The Lingming Stone Monkey, an innate spirit, is indeed blessed with extraordinary luck. After they were divided into groups, Wuozi waved his sleeves, and the 30,000-foot bamboo flower shrank to 3,000 feet. At the same time, 11 more 3,000-foot diameter bamboo flowers flew up. The 12 flowers are like 12 arenas, surrounding in a circle. All Deluo, as well as the remaining Tai monks who did not participate in the battle, surrounded the battle outside. At the beginning, there were hundreds of battles, which were a big wave. Su Junming watched them for a while and stopped paying attention. Although he is also a Tai Golden Immortal now, most of the Tai Golden Immortals' fighting techniques at the scene are similar to pediatrics for him. I really can't bring myself to have any interest. The soul was thrown into Ruyi's body and returned to Chongshan residence. Put the exchanged things into the treasure room into categories, and then took out a ball of Biming True Water obtained earlier from the collection. After a simple ritual practice, he placed it on the immortal island of creation and began to absorb the innate spiritual energy from the beginning here. The I-Soul Spirit orb originally given to Su Huang has been used up, so of course he has to make a new one to make up for it. He glanced at the Dragon Emperor and Tai Zhenjun who were still meditating with their eyes closed in the distance. The former is still shrouded in a 5-color divine light, and its energy is silent. There is a big black hole behind the latter, which suddenly expands and shrinks. The energy becomes more and more active, and it is obvious that a breakthrough is not far away. Think about it, unlike the Dragon Emperor, Tai Zhenjun has a doughty inner elixir from the same origin, the Deluo Golden Immortal Realm. For others, this thing can only be used to refine treasures. But for Tai Zhenjun, who is proficient in the art of devouring food and is not afraid of eating meat or vegetables, it is indeed a treasure that increases his power. With this help, coupled with the rich Taoishu innate spiritual energy here, an early breakthrough is certain. Of course, it will take some time before a real breakthrough is achieved. After examining it for a moment, Su Junming stopped paying attention. He walked aside and took out the dead branches exchanged from Xiao Taoist master of Zishao Temple. The edges of the dead branches about 10 feet long were smooth and had obviously been cut with a sharp weapon. Although the incision is not very new, it can be seen that it is not very old. Obviously, Xiao Taoist just cut off a piece and traded it, and kept more in his hands. This is also understandable. No one is willing to sell all the treasures in their hands unless necessary. But for Su Junming, this branch is enough. Return to your roots. Enveloped by the glazed divine power of time, the withered yellow color on the branches quickly receded, and the rich green color revealed infinite vitality. The broken branches grew back, and then, heart-shaped leaves, from small to large, appeared with dots of red light, like leaf veins. Like a divine pattern, it exudes a faint charisma of flame. Withdrawing his mana, he looked at the vibrant branches in front of him, nodded with satisfaction, then stretched out his hand, and the rich spiritual water of creation gathered. Ever since Su Junming withdrew the innate immortal aura from the creation spirit pond, he had trained the creation spirit pond into a middle grade de Luo Lingbao. Although the spiritual water of creation that grows within it no longer contains the way of early creation, it still has the magical effect of human flesh and bones of life and death. It can also awaken the vitality of dead spiritual roots. With the addition of rich spiritual water, the branches, which were already full of vitality, slowly grew. At the same time, the roots, like a swarm of wriggling snakes, quickly extended and then penetrated into the soil. In just a moment, the tree branches had turned into a tree 10 feet tall. After withdrawing his mana, Su Junming looked at the towering spiritual roots in front of him and felt the mixed atmosphere of Binghuo spiritual energy and Greenwood spiritual energy. Su Junming recalled the records he had read in his mind. Elixir Fire Treasure Tree. After some comparisons, it was gradually determined that the spiritual root in front of him was the rumored Danhuo tree. It is said that this tree is a treasure for alchemy. A grown leaf contains rich Binghuo spiritual energy, which can be used as fuel to allow the large rotten furnace to continuously burn for 3 jiezi. Because the fire energy is pure and the supply is continuous, the rate of making elixirs using your own mana is much higher than using spiritual oil. Therefore, it is regarded as the most precious treasure of alchemy by many alchemists. Unfortunately, this tree belongs to the top grade of Deluo and is extremely rare. Apart from being seen in the prehistoric world, it has never appeared in the earthly immortal world. Su Junming nodded with satisfaction as he looked at the Danhuo tree that slowly absorbed Taish's innate spiritual energy and grew rapidly. Although it is still early when it will actually be long enough to be usable, we can look forward to it. After recovering his magic power, Su Junming came to his quiet room in Chongshan residence. With a thought, the quiet room that was originally only a dozen square meters expanded in an instant. In an instant, it had turned into hundreds of thousands of feet. With a wave of his right hand, the giant black palm received from Shangguan Hanyun suddenly appeared. Through the bronze mirror, one can clearly see that under the extremely hard scales, there is flesh and blood that has turned into bluish black and has dried and hardened. Although a long time has passed, the texture of the muscles can still be clearly seen. Compared with his own, its density is more than thousands of times stronger, and the two sides are not at the same level at all. The dry and hard muscles are wrapped in extremely hard finger bones. The jade-white bones were dotted with green divine patterns, and Su Junming felt the powerful charm of greenwood from them. In addition, the entire palm is filled with extremely powerful earth turbidity. Obviously, this palm comes from the witch clan. In the entire prehistoric world, the witch clan is not the only one who uses the turbid air of the earth to temper their bodies, but they are indeed the most famous. Try to restore the original appearance of this palm by returning to its origin. It can be seen with the naked eye that the death energy on the black giant palm has disappeared a lot. But there is still a long way to go before we can return to our original state. After pondering for a moment, he reached out and made a move. A drop of blood about a foot in size, covered in indigo and exuding powerful life essence, flew over from the space passage next to him. At the moment when the essence and blood appeared, the cyan divine patterns inside the black giant palm instantly fluctuated. Even the essence and blood in Su Junming's palm were trembling, trying to fly into the giant palm. Sure enough, this giant black palm comes from Jamang, the wood god, one of the 12 ancestral witches. The Hunyuan series is also a witch clan. Apart from Jamang, there are almost no other witch clans. Now with the evidence of this drop of Jamang's blood, it is completely conclusive. Seeing the changes in the giant palm, Su Junming understood, and there was a hint of deep thought in his eyes. Temporarily putting away the essence and blood, he patted the green gourd on his waist, and 12 streams of light flew out. In the blink of an eye, it turned into 12 flags with different colors such as red, white, black, and purple. On each flag, there is a statue of a god filled with evil spirits. The first face is a human face with a bird body, 2 dragons on its feet, and the green one is Wu Jamang, the ancestor of the oriental wood. Shaped like a yellow sack, red like red fire, with 6 legs and 4 wings, and faceless, it is the ancestor of space, Wu Dijiang. With an animal head and human body, covered with red scales, with fire snakes in his ears and fire dragons on his feet, he is Wu Zurong, the ancestor of fire in the south. With a human face and a tiger body, covered with gold scales, with 2 wings, a snake pierced in his left ear, and 2 dragons riding on his feet, Wu Pingxiao, the ancestor of gold in the west. He has a python head and body, is covered with black scales, has a black dragon on his feet, and has a green python in his hands. He is Gong Gong, the ancestral shaman of the water in the north. With a human face and a bird body, a green snake hanging on each ear, and 2 green snakes on its feet, it is Xianming who is good at wind, frost, snow, and rain. With a snake in his mouth and a snake in his hand, with a tiger head and body, 4 hoofed feet and long elbows, he is Wu Jiangliang, the ancestor of thunder. With the head of a human and the body of a dragon, the whole body is red. He is Zhujian, who is known as the ancestral witch of time. With 8 heads and a human face, a tiger body and 8 tails, he is the ancestor of the wind, Wu Tian centipede. With a human face and a bird body, a green snake hanging from his ears, and a red snake in his hand, he is Wu Zizi, the ancestor of electricity. With a human face and an animal body, with dog-like ears and green snakes hanging from the ears, it is the ancestor of poison, Wu Shiba's corpse. Finally, with a human face and a dragon body and a candle in its mouth, it is the ancient mythical beast Candle Dragon. This is the Su Junming version of the 12 capital heavenly gods formation. The Zurong divine flag, the Jamang divine flag and the Candle Dragon divine flag are radiant with light and powerful aura. They are undoubtedly great magic weapons. The remaining 9-faced divine banner is just a Tai magical weapon and is not expected to be used against the enemy. He has been studying the 12 capital heaven formation recorded in the Shaman clan's secret book, the Book of Zhulang. I hope to use this formation to get a glimpse of the mystery of the Wu clan's clan-suppressing formation, the 12 capital gods and evil formation. These 12 Dushan god flags were refined after he understood the Great Formation. However, after he fully comprehended the 12 capital god formations, with the help of the bronze mirror, he combined the principles of other formations that he had previously comprehended to innovate and bring forth the new. Pushed the 12 capital god formation in a new direction. Thus there is now Su Junming's version of the 12 capital gods and evil formation. However, whether it is the 12 capitals divine evil formation or his 12 capitals heaven formation, they have the ability to absorb the soul fragments of the ancestral witches scattered in the sky. In fact, the reason why the Wu clan understood the 12 capital heavenly gods formation was because they had the intention of collecting the fragments of Pangu's soul scattered throughout the wilderness. The difference is that to collect Pangu's soul fragments, the 12 ancestral witches must be together, but to collect the soul fragments of the ancestral witches, only a separate Dushan Shensha flag is needed. Of course, collecting soul fragments and resurrecting the dead Pangu or ancestral witch is just wishful thinking. The soul is no longer complete. Even if some soul fragments are gathered and resurrected, they are no longer the real Pangu or the ancestral witch. Therefore, when Su Junming understood this, his interest in the 12 capitals divine evil formation was reduced by half. Different from the dust formation of life and death, disillusionment, darkness, and brightness, as long as your cultivation of the formation is high enough, you can fully understand the original version, or even be stronger. But the 12 capital gods and evil formation cannot be played without the essence and blood of the ancestral witches. The essence and blood of the ancestral witch, and nothing more, Ho-Tu is still alive and well now. Therefore, unless the witch clan, outsiders playing the witch clan's version of the 12 capitals divine evil formation are completely in vain. Su Junming is not from the Wu clan, and the Wu clan's version of the 12 capital heavenly gods and evil formation is naturally insulated from him. Therefore, with the help of the bronze mirror, he created his own version of the 12 capital formations. Thanks to the book friend Xian Female for the 1,500 starting coin reward, thank you very much. Become a disciple of Taoist priest 4 Eyes author, Dong Ren. Chapter 959. So he replaced Ho-Tu with Zilong, and he didn't expect to summon any Pangu shadow in the future. It was too far away and unrealistic. What he wanted to do was to replace some of the 12 ancestral witches with 12 kinds of ancient beasts or powerful men who had fallen but had their own essence and blood. Develop a set of 12 capital gods and evil formations that are exclusive to you. This thought came to him after he got the 3-legged golden crow corpse. Unfortunately, the 3-legged golden crow was too strong, and he had recovered a lot using the method of returning to its origins. With his current strength, he simply couldn't train it. Before the restriction could fall on the latter's body, it was burned to ashes by the golden flames of the sun surrounding it. Fortunately, with this sentence, he will not make the same mistake again. He stretched out his hand and the Jamang divine flag flew over instantly. He glanced at the last Jamang essence and blood in his hand, then waved his hand and punched it in. They are of the same origin, and Jamang's essence and blood were swallowed by Kifin in an instant. The next moment, the brilliance of the sacred flag, which was about 10 feet in size, soared. In an instant, it turned into a huge thing. Roar. Accompanied by an explosive and vast roar, the demon god with a human face and a bird's body and 2 dragons on his feet jumped directly from the flag banner. The powerful King Mu energy mixed with the evil energy soared into the sky. The addition of Jamang's essence and blood greatly increased the source of Jamang's divine flag, and Su Junming's heart moved. The Hunyuan divine gate fell instantly, and the tyrannical power of time shrouded it, causing the flow of time around it to slow down. Immediately afterwards, his hands flew, and divine patterns flew towards the Jamang divine flag. Every time a divine pattern falls into it, the aura of the divine flag becomes stronger, and the figure of Jamang Zuo becomes more real. Gradually, a peak was reached. Boom, accompanied by thunder, the calamity aura instantly became intense. Obviously, this Jamang divine flag has reached the level of low-grade Deluo Lingbao. The banners weaved with Taoist's innate spiritual energy and the banner poles made of yellow plum branches are enough to even advance to Hunyuan in the future, let alone Deluo. This nature also gives it enough potential to survive the disaster. At the Deluo stage, the thunder of weapon tribulation has also become a big hole thunder. 36 large hole thunders fell one by one, and despite the violent thunder, they did not damage the Jamang divine flag at all. When the calamity passed, the fundamental energy of creation fell, and the Jamang divine banner became a middle-grade Deluo Lingbao. The original 10,000-foot sacred flag also grew to 100,000 feet. Roar. The 100,000-foot-long awning god and demon roared angrily, spreading its wings behind its back, covering the sky for a long time. The thick giant feet stepped on the 2 giant green dragons, like giant pillars supporting the sky. The energy of the billowing green wood mixed with the evil energy rose into the sky, forming a canopy that spanned millions of miles. The green divine flags behind him were fierce, highlighting the increasingly tyrannical power of the Jamang god and demon. The roaring Jamang seemed to be summoning something. Soon, bits of light flew over and merged into Jamang's body. The latter's originally dull expression quickly became more lively. Su Junming saw it in his eyes and knew very clearly that these cyan light spots were the soul fragments scattered between heaven and earth after Jamang's death. Theoretically, as long as there are enough, Jamang can come to life. Of course, Su Junming didn't know how many soul fragments to collect. But as the Jamang divine flag is a rare treasure that he has personally practiced and is in line with his own path, he will naturally not leave any future troubles. What's more, he also practiced the Dao of Soul. With a move in his heart, an extremely complex divine pattern in Jamang's body shone brightly. After being refined by it, all the soul fragments were imbued with the aura of the divine pattern. Done this. The finger formula changed again, the Jamang god demon's huge mouth opened, and the powerful swallowing power enveloped the black giant palm. Normally, if you want to refine this giant palm, you will need Deluo Jinxian level mana and top-notch divine fire in times of difficulty. But now Jamang gods and demons are born from the same source and can be seamlessly connected, making it naturally easier to absorb. See you soon. Threads of blue-black substance rushed up from the giant black palm, and were continuously swallowed by Jamang god and demon. In an instant, pairs of arms stretched out from Su Junming's back, and thousands of palms pinched the seals at the same time. Divine patterns poured into the Jamang divine flag like a torrent. The latter's aura quickly increased. Suddenly, 3 huge lavender halos of light emerged from the divine flag. Immediately afterwards, the fourth aperture changed from virtual to real. At the moment when it was completely stable, the Jamang divine flag instantly grew by 100,000 feet, and the power of the Jamang divine demon swallowing became even more astonishing. More and more blue-black matter was swallowed up by it. The cyan body of Jamang god and demon, which was originally as if it were a substance, became darker and darker. There was still a bit of futility at first, but now it has completely disappeared. Soon, a lavender halo representing the 5th restriction emerged. When it solidified, the Jamang divine flag once again skyrocketed by 100,000 feet. The power of swallowing has become stronger, but more materials are needed to continue practicing. At the same time, Su Junming's practice speed inevitably slowed down. A round bronze mirror slowly flew out from the danchan and reached 3 feet above the head. The clear mirror light fell down, and the distracting thoughts in Su Junming's heart disappeared instantly. All attention was placed on the Jamang divine flag in front of him. Time passed bit by bit. Gradually, the lavender halo representing the 6th restriction emerged, but it was much blurry compared to the first 5. Su Junming's hand movements became slower and slower. His brows were furrowed, and it took him more than 10 seconds to make a seal. It is the first time to practice the top middle grade Deluo Lingbao, so every step must be done carefully. The devouring of Jamang gods and demons continues. His strength is still slowly rising, and the agility in his eyes is getting stronger and stronger. I do not know how long it has been. Su Junming raised his eyebrows and drank. Duh. The 6th lavender light circle solidified instantly. Roar, Jamang god and demon roared excitedly. The Jamang divine flag instantly expanded to 400,000 feet. The huge divine flag was tumbling fiercely, like a blue sky. The thick flagpole is 30,000 feet in diameter, like a giant pillar. The strong aura of greenwood is like a steaming flame, extremely powerful. It has the head of a human and the body of a bird, with 2 dragons on its feet, its wings spread out, and its roaring light rising up to the sky, filled with evil energy. If this place were not in the void of Hunyuan divine sect, it would have shocked the entire Dongsheng divine continent. Seeing the demon god who continued to devour Jamang's hand after roaring, Su Junming breathed a sigh of relief. If the flag banner constructed by Huang Zhongli and Taish's innate energy was not strong enough, he would never dare to refine the Go Mang Shen banner into the 6th De Luo Fa Jin right now. However, the 6th law that has been hastily trained must be unsatisfactory. In the future, if there is a breakthrough in cultivation and Tiangong Dao will be further advanced, this sentence of the God's Light banner will have to be refined again. Jamang continued to devour the severed palm. The latter's tyranny exceeded Su Junming's expectation. Even after such a long time, the remaining flesh and blood still allowed Jamang Divine Banner to advance to a great level. Gradually, a feeling of completion appeared in Su Junming's heart. He understood that if he had accumulated enough Jamang Divine Flags, he would be able to overcome the calamity and achieve the top grade de Luo Lingbao. However, a powerful invisible restriction blocked the front. The feeling of being unable to resist made him understand that this was the way of heaven in the earthly and immortal world. In the earthly immortal realm, things of the de Luo high grade and above are not allowed to appear. Magical weapons are naturally included. If you don't keep trying, your efforts are in vain. With the thought in his heart, Jamang Divine Banner took in the remaining severed palm. Roar, Jamang God and Demon, who had been hundreds of feet away from the divine flag, suddenly turned his head and looked at him, with a spreading fierce light and evil aura. Obviously, his continuous breakthroughs allowed him to absorb the soul fragments of Shang Jumangzuwu, and his spirituality became stronger. It's really noisy. With both hands making seals, the Jamang divine flag erupted with intense divine light, and an irresistible pulling force swallowed up the nearly 400,000-foot Jamang divine demon. He appeared again after a while, still as agile as ever, but his expression was extremely submissive. The supervisory consciousness in the soul fragments has been cleared by him. He stretched out his hand and the giant flag suddenly shrank, turned into 3 feet and fell into his palm. After playing with it for a while, he nodded with satisfaction. This sentence of Mang Shen Banner is finally finished. Now that I have sacrificed Gumang's essence and blood to refine it into a treasure, the Zurong essence and blood and Zalong's essence and blood that were originally left in my hands are no longer retained. Of course, there is no rush. After leaving Hunyuan Zhenmen, I counted the time and saw that only 1 day had passed. For him, the flow of time thousands of times is indeed very powerful. Returning to Yuntai Immortal Palace, the fighting here continues. And it has already reached the 4th round. The first round is from 44 to 22, and the second round is from 22 to 11. Then, the 9 people who had a bye in the first round were added. As a result, in the third round, 9 groups became 12 and 6. 3 of the remaining 3 groups were lucky enough to get a bye and became the top 5. By the 4th round, it became 6 into 3. Those who can remain until now are almost all elite disciples from major sects and strong men among casual cultivators. The strength is more even, and the fighting will naturally become more intense. The overwhelming victory like at the beginning disappeared, and most of what was left was a long battle. Sun Shi is one of the few monks who can defeat his opponents quickly. Fellow Taoist Su, your disciple is indeed very powerful. The Chang Kingzi of the Qing Cheng Immortal sect is also considered a good player among the younger generation. He is outstanding in King Mu Taoism. Unexpectedly, he was defeated in just a dozen moves. Taoist Su Zhen exclaimed. Fellow Taoist, this is a wonderful compliment. The 3 disciples of your sect are also extremely powerful. Taoist Su Zhen smiled. Fortunately, they are not in the same group as Taoist Brother Sunday. Su Junming's eyes flashed slightly. I don't know whether it's intentional or not. Sun Shi was grouped with Luo Yan's direct disciple, the young Taoist who was carrying a big red gourd. Looking at his Taoism, it is obvious that he has the true inheritance of Fire Dragon Island. The gourd opened behind him, countless fire crows flew out, and the powerful Bing Huo boiled the sky and boiled the sea. In addition to the scorching flames, the fire crow was even more powerful after it exploded. It's often hard to guard against. The fire technique is so powerful that it is almost the most powerful among the 3,000 Tai golden immortals here. And in addition to this red gourd that resembles the heavenly fire pot of 10,000 crows, and all the important treasures of Luo Xian, the immortal in flame, this person also has thousands of miles of clouds and smoke and 5 dragon wheels. Cooperating with each other, the power is doubled. Become a disciple of Taoist priest for us. Author, Dong Ren. Chapter 960. Master, I'm back. Sun Shi flew over excitedly. Go aside and meditate to restore your mana. Sun Shi did not dare to neglect, and after responding, he sat down next to him to recover his lost mana. Thanks to Su Junming's teachings, even if the fight just did not consume much mana, he must recover his mana as soon as possible and go all out in his most perfect state. Time passed little by little. Zikuyin Mao Chen Si Wu did not apply for Yuxuhai, and the 12 arenas ended one by one. There are 3 people left in each arena. Wuozi sat high on the bamboo flower and looked around at the winning Tai Golden Immortals. The next 3 people will fight together, and the winner will be one of the 12 winners of this battle. Su Junming frowned slightly. 2 against 1, this was not a fair fight. However, there is no absolute fairness in the spiritual world, especially when you encounter demons and evil ways. They will never talk to you about benevolence, justice, or fairness. Once faced with an enemy, they will often attack at the same time, using various means to attack, with killing the powerful enemy as the first priority. Although you are here to take advantage, you may be cautious. Sun Shi nodded. The light rises and flies straight towards the bamboo flower with the character Yin. At the same time, Luo Yan's disciple, the young Taoist wearing a red Taoist robe and carrying a red gourd on his back, also flew over. Now Sun Shi already knows his name. Binghuo Immortal Luo Tong. Looking at him, Sun Shi grinned. He, aren't you a tough talker? Let's see how I, old son, deal with you, a guy who is neither a man nor a woman. Luo Tong was instantly furious. Damn monster monkeys, people who drink blood from their hair, dare to laugh at a certain family. Although his words were rude, his eyes were extremely cautious. He has seen all the fighting techniques of this monkey. He is extremely powerful and has amazing martial arts skills. Every time he fights, he can defeat the opponent with overwhelming force. But thinking about the treasure that Master gave him, he felt relieved. While the two were bickering, a ray of light flew over. A middle-aged Taoist wearing a yellow robe, with long eyebrows and a wooden crown on his head walked out. By now, everyone is familiar with the fight. Fellow Taoist Sun, the demon monkey is arrogant. How about we two fight against the enemy together, Luo Tong said through the message. Sun Renying frowned slightly. As a disciple of Laguan Taoism, he looked down upon the arrogance of Master Luo Tong and his disciples, but he also knew that he alone was no match for Sun Shi. Normally, if you lose, you lose. But now he wants to use Fenglai Immortal Apricot from Yuntai Immortal Sect as the main material to refine elixirs to help him further his cultivation. He has advanced to the pinnacle of Tai Golden Immortal for 800 years. Although it is still early for him to reach perfection, he still needs to prepare for the future tribulation. The Wind and Thunder Immortal Apricot contains the power of wind and thunder and can be refined into a spiritual elixir that can defeat hair with the power of wind and thunder. Cleansing the marrow can enhance physical strength and resistance to the power of wind and thunder. In the future, the success rate of overcoming tribulations will be at least 0.5%. Don't underestimate this half achievement. In the face of the great tribulation of life and death, any small help is precious. The reason why Yuntai Immortal Sect can be ranked first in the Taoist sect is that the 3 great Luo Genshi and Fenglai Immortal Seeing are indispensable. After defeating fellow Taoist Sun, you and I will decide the winner again. After hearing this, Luo Tong felt relieved. The two of them joined forces to increase their chances of winning. Seeing this, Sun Shi's fighting spirit surged to the sky. He stretched out his left hand, a 9-foot-long Qingshen Ruyi stick with a thick wrist appeared in his palm. Hey, do you want to join forces? Sun, will weigh in on you first. Boom. His energy and blood surged to the sky, and he rushed towards Luo Tong instantly as if he had transformed. The green magic stick in his hand was like a bolt of lightning, instantly reaching Luo Tong's head. Although the two of them were always on guard, they were still jumped by Sun Shi's instant burst. He was faster than before. Damn it, he still retained his strength from the previous fight. Seeing the green stick coming at him crazily, Luo Tong, who had always been on guard, quickly activated his magic power. The next moment, a powerful mage wrapped in flames, lightning flew out from the Danshan, the fire exploded, and turned into a tyrannical fire dragon to win. He himself quickly retreated. Boom, the powerful Qing Shen stick struck directly without dodging or dodging. The powerful force exploded and the 5-dragon wheel, which had been refined into the best immortal treasure by Luo Tong, was instantly knocked away. Sun Shi did not pursue him, because Sun Rening had already activated a wooden seal next to him and hit him as heavy as 1,000 pieces. Sun Rening, who specializes in wood Taoism, is surrounded by the powerful Qingmu magic power. The billowing mana turned into an illusion of 100-foot-tall green tree with lush branches behind him. Qing Shen stick swept across. Boom! It's like two mountains colliding. The dragon and turtle made a knot, and the cyan wooden seal, which was as big as a millstone, flew high in the air. Sun Shi just took 2 steps back. You must know that his current cultivation level is only in the middle stage of Tai Golden Immortal, which is weaker than Sun Rening and Luo Tong. Scold! Sun Rening shouted. Under the influence of the magic power of the rolling green wood, the wooden seal that was knocked away instantly turned into a 1,000-foot-long dragon turtle. It roared, opened its huge mouth, and green vines flew over like a waterfall. Not to be outdone, Luo Tong made seals with his hands and muttered words. Behind the red gourd, there was a loud roar, and the surrounding flame aura instantly became restless. Next moment, the overwhelming fire crows flapped their wings and flew out. These fire elves were like falling stars, flying straight towards Sun Shi. Because there are so many of them, they look like a torrent from a distance. There are vines on one side and fire crows on the other. Attacking from both sides, the momentum is astonishing. When Sun Shi saw it, not only was he not afraid at all, but he was full of fighting spirit, even a little fanatical. The vast energy and blood in his body surged up. The huge strength originates from the soles of the feet, along the waist and back, and flows into the Qing Shen stick. This divine weapon of destiny, following his thoughts, instantly transformed into a giant weapon tens of millions of feet tall. As bright as a pillar in the sky, it stirs up the wind and clouds. It's really breathtaking. They all died for me, old Sunday. With a roar, Sun Shi's yellow hair stood up all over his body, and his eyes glowed with 100 feet of blood as his energy and blood surged. The huge Qing Shen stick was rounded by him. With the tyranny of 10 swings and 10 battles, he swept away. In the face of tyrannical power, no matter whether you are 1,000-foot green vine or an infinite fire, you will all bow down. Boom! The huge bamboo flower trembled violently. The restrictions were shaken and manifested. Fortunately, the Yuntai Immortal Palace, as the core of the Yuntai Immortal sect, has strong enough restrictions and has not collapsed. At this moment, the tyranny of martial arts were vividly displayed by Sun Shi. No matter how many tricks you throw at me, I will kill you with just one stick. One force can bring down 10. The tyranny of the stick instantly attracted endless attention. Compared with the other arenas, which are full of lightning, fiery trees, and silver flowers, and turbulent waves, all showing off the wonderful techniques of Taoism, the fighting rules here are full of domineering. The completely different scene is naturally more attractive. Fellow Taoists, your disciple is so strong in martial arts. If you practice hard for another 1,000 years, you will have the hope of breaking through the great Luo. At that time, you will be a true protector who can compare with Qingyu Enmiodeo, true monarch, and Neza, third prince. Immortal Taoist Su Zhen said with envy. He was not referring to Erlang Shen and Neza from the earthly immortal world, but the true deity of the prehistoric world. Although he has never been to the prehistoric world, there are legends about the prehistoric world circulating in the earthly immortal world. In that vast world where gods and demons are like rain, and immortals are everywhere, Erlang Shen and Nezha are both gods of war who are rumored to have reached the Luo Jingxian. Although he failed to break through the Hunyuan realm and compare with the ancient ancestral witches, in terms of pure martial arts, few in the ancient world could compare with them. Fellow Taoist, this is a wonderful compliment. Even if you break through to the Great Luo realm, the gap between the Great Luo Heavenly Immortal and the Great Luo Golden Immortal is even greater than the difference between refining Qi and reaching the Tai realm. Not to mention surpassing Qingyuan Miodao Zhenjun and Nezha Third Prince, even if I can match them, I will be very happy. Although they were just polite words, Su Junming really thought so. Hunyuan is too far away. If Sun Shi can become a martial arts great Luo Jingxian in the future, he will also be very satisfied. After all, in the entire prehistoric period, although the Luo Jingxian was not the top, he was still a small giant. With the teachings of fellow Taoists, I believe this day will come. Taoist Su Zhen smiled. Of course, he was just complimenting him, and he didn't think that Sun Shi could reach the heights of Erlang Shen and Nezha. After all, martial arts training requires too many resources. Moreover, the requirements for qualifications, understanding, luck are all top-notch. Just one or two items alone. All the conditions taken together are really rare. Only in the early days, the ancient times, and the ancient times, when the spiritual energy was richer and the innate spiritual energy had not disappeared, could tens of millions of strong body refiners emerge. While the two were chatting, the battle in the Yinzi arena had reached a fever pitch. Sun Shi, who was already beating crazy, held a green god's wishful stick in his hand, pointing east and west, like an antelope hanging its horns, unpredictable. What is stronger than the skills is the extremely powerful power above. The kind of power that can even break space made Luo Tong and Sun Rinying take action. They didn't dare to confront them head-on, otherwise as long as they hit them hard with a stick, they would either die or be injured. So I had to hide and fight, which was really frustrating. Boom! The giant tree measuring tens of millions of feet was smashed to pieces by the violent force. Sun Rinying's face was pale, but fortunately he was alert enough. Otherwise, it would not be the giant tree that was broken, but him. Run away in a hurry. If it wasn't just a battle of skills, rather than a life and death battle, he would have run away by now. But after being suppressed and beaten for so long, he had had enough of this suffocating fight. Just when he was hesitating whether to use the treasure at the bottom of the box, Luo Tong's hysterical screams came from next to him. "Damn monkey, you thought you won. Call." Like a hurricane roaring, the fire aura between heaven and earth seemed to be summoned and flew into the distance overwhelmingly. Sun Rinying turned around and looked away. But at this moment Luo Tong has turned into a body with 3 heads and 6 arms. His red hair was flying and his expression was ferocious, like a god or demon. The 6 thick arms held a red fire crow gourd, 5 dragon wheels, 2 flying smoke swords, and a large red flag. This flag is called Thousands of Miles of Clouds and Smoke. When it is shaken, it launches thousands of rockets, which are as fast as a storm, covering the sky and the earth, and the momentum is astonishing. It's a pity that although this treasure is powerful, it is like a mantis arm acting as a chariot in front of Sun Shi's Jingshen Ruyi stick, and is no match at all. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Become a disciple of Taoist priest 4 Eyes. Author, Dong Ren. Chapter 961. Compared with the 5 Tai immortal treasures, what is truly shocking in Luo Tong's hand is the scarlet red fairy sword in his right hand in front of him. This sword is 2 feet and 7 inches long, and is red all over. The mythical beast swallows it, and the red sword is covered with a thin mist of flying smoke. Anyone with a discerning eye will know that this sword is a flying smoke sword. More importantly, this sword is not Luo Tong's original flying smoke sword, but a large Luo Lingbao. Of course, Tai Jingxian has the ability to control the Luo Lingbao. Like Su Junming, he can also compete with Luo Tianxian with the help of Luo Lingbao. But there are very few Tai golden immortals who possess the great Luo Lingbao. Luo Lingbao is not a big cabbage. The earthly immortal world is vast and there are not many exotic treasures of this level. In order to win, Luo Yan is really embarrassed, Taoist Su Zhen said with contempt in his tone. Anyone familiar with it can tell that this Feiyan sword is Luo Yan's natal spiritual treasure. Su Junming smiled lightly and didn't say much. There is no shortage of Luo Lingbao and his disciples. Smelly monkey, let me see how you escape this time. Luo Tong, who had been beaten up and down before and ran away in embarrassment, felt a surge of confidence in his heart while holding the Lingbao in his hand. A kind of vengeful anger prompted him to activate his magic power, hold the flying smoke sword in his hand, and slash out fiercely. Next moment. Boom, 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 7 huge pillars of fire formed a huge formation and enveloped Sun Shi like lightning. Feeling the powerful Bing Huo contained in the fire pillar, Sun Shi subconsciously opened the seal of Qing Shen Ruyi stick. This natal weapon, the great Luo Lingbao, has been trained by the master for a long time. Just because of his insufficient cultivation, most of its power is usually sealed. If it were unlocked, with his cultivation, he could knock Nailotong down in an instant. But when it came to the end, he took his hand back. There was a thought in his heart, and a set of blue armor covered his whole body. Phoenix wings wear golden armor, his natural armor. Never used it before. Looking at the 7 fire pillars getting closer and closer, and the powerful formation based on them, Sun Shi took a deep breath. Move, star, change, fight. Boom, a huge amount of energy and blood rose into the sky. A tall, golden red figure, with a hairy face and a thunderous mouth, and an illusion of a bull-fighting ape with bloody eyes, appeared behind him. Such an astonishing amount of vitality instantly attracted all the spectators to look over. What a strong martial arts training! This monkey's martial arts is too strong. Everyone was amazed. Luo Yan looked a little surprised. This magical power is really powerful, but it is difficult to block the flying smoke sword. Sun Shi's energy and blood instantly became dozens of times stronger after activating his natal supernatural power. Driven by the billowing energy and blood, the furious Sun Shi rose into the sky. He couldn't help but rush forward towards the pillar of fire instead of retreating. My grandson worships the mountains, the heavens, the greats, and the saints. The high-spirited fighting spirit soars into the sky, and the fearless figure, although only 6 feet tall, is taller than the mountains. The battle stick dragged behind him gathered all the energy and blood in his body and struck out with an irresistible momentum. Time seemed to slow down. Everything disappeared, and all that was left in everyone's eyes was the ever-expanding green stick and the huge pillar of fire falling from the sky. Getting closer, getting closer. Sudden. A powerful white light illuminated the entire space. The vast shockwave crazily squeezed everything around it. The powerful power forced the fighting in other arenas to stop. Boom. The deafening roar made the cultivators feel as if their hearts were beating along with it. The shock that penetrated the heart made almost everyone widen their eyes. Wuozi made a secret with both hands, and the billowing magic power entered the hall, maintaining the stability of the bamboo flower. The intensity of this fight exceeded his expectations. In his opinion, the reward was not that big, and there were only 12 places, so it was just a matter of competition. We are all on the same path, so we won't fight to the death for this little thing. Too uneconomical. But Luo Yan, an arrogant idiot, came uninvited. He didn't know why he was crazy, and he kept causing trouble for Su Junming. Do you really think that the Jijiao now is still the time when 10,000 immortals came to the court? Do you really think everyone is afraid of their fire dragon island? Not to mention, when he was preaching, he was not his opponent and was slapped in the face like crazy. As a result, he later used Deluo Lingbao without any bottom line to bully his disciples. This kind of bottomless thing can't be done by Deluo who wants to save face. With everyone paying attention, the vast shockwave gradually dissipated. Luo Yan stood in mid-air holding the flying smoke sword with a look of disbelief on his face. Thousands of feet away, Sun Shi bowed his waist slightly, raised his chin slightly, and his golden hair was like needles, standing on end. His eyes were gleaming with blood, revealing his endless fighting spirit. Both hands firmly grasped the Qingshen Ruyi stick, leaning against his chest. He looked like he could rush forward at any moment. The bamboo flower under their feet had long been destroyed, but under Wuchen's urging, it quickly grew again. Looking at his intact opponent, the disbelief on Luo Tong's face gradually turned into shame and anger. He didn't believe that he, who owned the great Luo Lingbao, couldn't defeat a monkey in the Tai Golden Immortal Realm. Let's see how many times you can block my sword. Driven by the billowing magic power, the flying smoke sword light became even more vast. The pillar of fire reaching 3,000 feet, like 7 heavenly pillars, roared towards me. Before it even gets close, the temperature of the molten iron has already made the surrounding air boil. Sun Shi took a deep breath, did not dodge or evade, and faced him with his stick. Boom! There was another thunderous noise. The force of the rolling countershock made Sun Shi retreat thousands of feet. He stepped back dozens of steps before he stabilized his body. His chest heaved and his breathing became louder. He groaned, and a trace of blood appeared at the corner of his mouth. Obviously, he was injured in the fight just now. However, at this moment, the aura of fighting against heaven and earth in him became stronger. Come again. Sun Shi's eyes were like fire, and his fighting spirit was soaring into the sky. He roared angrily, and took the initiative to charge forward with the Qingshen Ruyi stick. Luo Tong looked ugly, and in full view of everyone, he had no way out. Let me see how many swords you can take from me. He activated his magic power and slashed violently. This time there were no longer 7 pillars of fire, but one pillar of golden red fire that was 10,000 feet thick, like an erupting volcano, falling down with great force. Boom! There was another thunderous sound, and Sun Shi was blown thousands of feet away. He kicked, and took hundreds of steps back before he could stand still. Wow, a mouthful of blood spurted out. Plop, he knelt down on one knee, his chest rising and falling violently. Luo Tong saw this, felt relieved, and then laughed. It's too late for you to admit defeat now. Although it's embarrassing, it's better than losing your life. Admit defeat? Ha ha. The deep laughter clearly reached the ears of everyone present. At this time, all the fighting in the ring stopped. Everyone looked at the monkey kneeling on one knee. Just laugh. Sun Shi slowly raised his head. Luo Tong felt a chill in his heart and subconsciously took 2 steps back. What a pair of eyes. There is no trace of fear or intention to retreat, all he has is a fighting spirit as hot as the blazing sun. Madman, madman, this guy is a madman, Luo Tong roared in his heart. He has been cultivating Taoism for 10,000 years, and this is the first time he has encountered such a guy who will fight to the death and would rather break than bend. Zhen Yuanzi and Lishan Mother sighed in their expressions. After so many years, they saw a Xingtian-like figure here. My disciple is not the kind of guy from the witch clan who likes to show off his bravery. Seeing Sun Shi's growing fighting spirit, Su Junming thought to himself. He raised his left hand and slowly wiped away the blood from the corner of his mouth, speaking in a low and wild tone. I, grandson, never admit defeat. The last word was almost a roar, and powerful energy and blood rose into the sky. Sun Shi waved the Qingshen Ruyi stick again and rushed forward. Kill you, I'm going to kill you. Luo Tong roared angrily and slashed out with the flying smoke sword again. The huge flame pillar crashed down again. Boom! Amidst the thunder, Sun Shi was surrounded by flames and was knocked flying thousands of feet. His body fell on the broken bamboo flower and rolled far away before stopping. Lying on the ground, his chest heaved violently, and his armor was covered with traces of smoke and fire. The chest was stained red with blood. Hold the Qingshen Ruyi stick tightly in your right hand. No matter how you look at it, he has reached the end of his strength at this time. Fellow Taoist Su, aren't you going to take action? Taoist Su Zhen said quickly. Although Sun Shi's performance was shocking and his courage was commendable, he was going to be beaten to death at this moment. Su Junming stared at the disciple lying on the bamboo flower. Beneath the dying appearance is power that has been accumulated to its peak and is rapidly transforming. He knew why his disciple did not remove the seal of Qingshen stick. After following him for so many years, Sun Shi took hundreds of Tai 3 Emperor pills, as well as various spiritual fruits and spiritual wines. Most of these things were refined by him, but there was still a lot left in the body. He wanted to take advantage of the opportunity of fighting and use the great terror of life and death to squeeze out the power of these medicines and turn them into materials for him to advance to the later stage of Tai Golden Immortal. I have to say, it's crazy enough and bold enough. But Sun Shi also understood that even if he failed, he would be seriously injured if he survived. He would not die. Ha ha ha, let's see how you die this time. Luo Tong laughed heartily, and with a wave of the Feiyan sword, the billowing fire was like the Milky Way pouring out, rolling towards Sun Shi. The mighty heat wave and the boiling fire turned into the force of the river and the sea. Sun Shi was like a carp. Holding the green god stick with both hands, he thrust it into the ground with all his strength. His body tilted, and green light spread out from the stick, blocking the sea of fire. Boom! The surging fire waves were like a rewinding river, with astonishing momentum. Sun Shi's cyan light wall is like a tall embankment. During the collision, Luo Tong's flying smoke sword was stronger after all, and the powerful fire wave backed up against the cyan wall of light and quickly retreated. Sun Shi firmly held the Qingshen Ruyi stick with both hands. Expectation surges in the body, the light of the bamboo flower under his feet scatters, and the restraint collapses. After sliding thousands of feet, Sun Shi gritted his teeth, bang bang, and his feet sank deeply into the bamboo flower. The cyan wall of light finally stopped retreating and blocked the rolling waves of fire. Luo Tong was in mid-air, holding a flying smoke sword, with a proud smile of a winner. Become a disciple of Taoist priest 4 Eyes. Author, Dong Ren. Chapter 962. It's not too late for you to admit defeat now. Luo Tong looked down, his tone full of the pride of the winner and pity for the loser. Admit defeat. Sun Shi smiled in a deep voice. Master said that the only way to practice martial arts is to move forward without hesitation. You would rather be seriously injured or die on the battlefield than admit defeat. Otherwise, if you have a weak fighting spirit, you will have inner demons, and it will be difficult to reach the top in the future. So, how could I give up? Luo Tong slowly raised the flying smoke sword, and the powerful Binghuo spiritual energy gathered again. If you don't admit defeat, then die. The long sword suddenly swung down, and in the next moment, a long flaming sword with a length of several thousand feet was like a pillar of heaven toppling down, as if the sky was collapsing. Sun Shi raised his head suddenly. The face that was smoky and stained with blood showed a determination that could not be moved by mountains and seas. Thick blood shot out from every pore. The golden hair like steel needles was all dyed red. Taking a deep breath, the ferocious monkey's face showed a fierce fighting spirit. Crazy roars echoed through the sky. Break it for me. The billowing energy and blood are like a volcano erupting, rising into the sky. Unprecedentedly powerful energy and blood, accompanied by extremely hot pure yang, and an indomitable determination, suddenly collided with the rushing Binghuo sword energy. With a boom, a powerful flat shockwave flew in all directions. Breakthrough! Many Deluo monks who saw Sun Shi's plan stood up immediately. His eyes were fixed on the battlefield. The new energy and blood, like the Yangtze River, gushes out from the deepest part of the body. The tired body is quickly nourished and slowly regains its vitality. Sun Shi's spirit was greatly shaken, and his body instantly swelled. Qingshen Ruyi's stick also turned into thousands of feet. His eyes were like blood, his hair was like needles, his expression was ferocious and determined, and his thick hands had veins popping out. All the mana, energy, blood, and will were gathered together. The roar was like thunder. The universe is thrown. The Qingshen Ruyi stick, which was 10,000 feet long, was like a pillar of heaven. The huge qi and blood boiled like a tide. The Binghuo sword energy and 10,000 feet of fire waves involved collapsed at the touch of a touch and disintegrated invisible. The giant stick struck Luo Tong crazily. With such earth-shattering power, even if Deluo Tianxian takes action, it will be nothing more than that. Luo Tong seemed to be frightened. He finally reacted and wanted to resist, but most of the mana in his body had already been consumed. Gritting his teeth, "I surrender." Wuo, a violent strong wind roared past, making a hunting sound as the clothes rolled around. Looking at the giant stick that was only half a foot away from him and almost touching his face, cold sweat broke out on Luo Tong's back. If I had been a little later just now, I was afraid that the leader of Liu Yang would have been smashed and died unexpectedly. The huge stick slowly shrunk and turned into 9 feet. Sun Shi was panting, holding a stick in both hands, and his whole body was filled with evil energy. The aura around him was like an unsheathed sword, making him breathless. Luo Tong didn't dare to look at him and lowered his head subconsciously. Seeing him admit defeat, Sun Shi slowly turned his head. He is not the only enemy of his. Looking at the blood-red eyes, thousands of feet away, Sun Renying felt as if he was being targeted by an ancient beast. As long as he showed hostility, the other party would instantly pounce on him and tear him to pieces. Take a deep breath. Although he wanted the Fengling Xingxing very much, the monkey on the opposite side and even Luo Tong who was holding the great Luo Lingbao were defeated. Although he had a trump card, he would definitely not be able to defeat Sun Shi, who had made another breakthrough in strength and became more powerful. I surrender. Although it is a bit embarrassing, it is better than losing your life. Sun Shi slowly put down the green god stick and slowly gathered his energy and blood. The blood in his eyes gradually disappeared, and his fighting spirit also disappeared. He straightened up and came to Su Junming in the form of escaping light. Get down on one knee. Master, my disciple is fortunate to have lived up to his command. Su Junming stood up and held him up with both hands. Patted him on the shoulder. You did a good job, go and rest in the back. After Sun Shi nodded, he returned to the red bamboo flower at the back and sat down cross-legged, carrying qi and blood, absorbing spiritual energy, consolidating his cultivation, and repairing the injuries in his body. At this moment, most of the audience's eyes were on him. As long as you are not a fool, you will know that this boy has a bright future and has great hope of becoming a big player in the future. Martial arts god general. As soon as this thought came to mind, the cultivators looked at Sun Shi with a deeper look. Su Dao is blessed with friendship. Your disciple will have the qualifications to be a god general in the future. Taoist Chang Kong sounded envious. In martial arts training, the higher you go, the harder it gets. There are very few people who can survive the catastrophe and become a god general. But those who can become divine generals are all geniuses with extremely high qualifications, understanding, and perseverance. Fellow Taoist Miao Zhan, he still needs experience, it's too early now, Su Junming said. The teachings of fellow Taoists are indeed extraordinary. All of my disciples are powerful and have excellent minds. In the past, Su Huang, the Ice Phoenix Fairy, swept through the 8 tribes of the heavenly dragons of Buddhism. Today, Sun Shi, the Qingtian Great Sage, defeated Luo Tong and Suan. The 2 immortals of Renying and Ying are so famous. It is really enviable, Master Yulin said. Before Su Junming could say a few polite words, the envious voices of Taoist Songfeng and Jingchenzi also came over. It would make people think that he was hypocritical, so he simply stopped talking and accepted everyone's words mixed with envy and even jealousy. After watching the Suan He battle just now, although the fighting in the remaining arena was fierce, it was far inferior to the fighting between Su Junming and Luo Tong. Also, not everyone has Deluo Lingbao in hand. Even if he had it, he wouldn't take it out and fight for a mere piece of Fengling Xiangxing and 10 years of time to comprehend the Kailan Pavilion. After all, those who have made it this far are basically disciples of major sects, and there are very few casual cultivators. Big sects don't lack this resource either. Time passed little by little. The remaining 11 arenas gradually decided the winner. Wuozi called the 12 winners to the center, and handed out the Wind and Thunder Immortal Apricot one by one, as well as a token that could pass through the Kailan Pavilion. Then he ordered his disciples to serve melon and fruit spirit wine, and the immortals went wild and had fun. After a while, the Yuntai Fairy Club came to an end. Fellow Taoist Su, Luo Yan is not an open-minded person. Your master and apprentice made him unable to come down in front of everyone, and his face was greatly damaged. He will definitely not give up. You must be careful after leaving Yuntai Mountain in the future. Shangguan Hanyuan, who was exchanging Go Mang palms with Su Junming, came over and warned. Subconsciously looking at the retreating figures of Master Luo Yan and Luo Tong, Su Junming nodded. Thank you, fellow Taoist, for informing me. My master and disciple will be careful. Shangguan Hanyuan nodded, bowed his head and left. He was not a talkative person, he just came to give a few words of admonishment due to his gratitude to Su Junming for his previous exchange of treasures. Whether to listen or not is entirely up to the individual, and he will not care more about it. This person is cold on the outside and hot on the inside. Because Sun Shi still had the reward of 10 years of Kailan Pavilion enlightenment, Su Junming did not leave Yuntai Mountain and still lived in Xianjiayuan. Master, here it is. Looking at the jade box handed over by Sun Shi, Su Junming did not refuse. If the Fengling Xiangxing inside is swallowed whole, the effect is certainly not small, but if auxiliary drugs are added to make it into a panacea, the effect can be increased several times. Tomorrow you go to Kailan Pavilion. The Yuntai immortal sect has been inherited for hundreds of thousands of years and must have accumulated countless secret scriptures. Understanding 1 or 2 of them will be beneficial to your future. You can also take this opportunity to consolidate your cultivation. Yes. With a wave of his hand, a porcelain bottle flew towards Sun Shi. There are 36 Tai 3 Emperor pills in here. Take it and use it. Thank you, Master. Su Junming waved his hand, and Sun Shi bowed before turning around and going out. Return to Chongshan residence and come to Tiangong Hall. The flames are blazing in the Tiangong Divine Furnace, Zizi Furnace, and 100 refining furnaces. Several Ruyi people were sitting cross-legged on one side, guarding the furnace. With more stoves, Su Junming became more comfortable refining elixirs and refining weapons. The Tiangong Divine Furnace refines Tai Spiritual Pill, the Zizi Furnace refines Deluo Spiritual Pill, and the 100 refining furnace refines weapons. Spiritual pills are consumables. With his current level of alchemy and the power of time, he could produce dozens of times more Tai spiritual pills in the same time than Qiao Shaoxan and Zhang Sanfen, 2 disciples who were good at alchemy combined. The huge amount of Tai spirit pill is also an important reason for the rapid growth of Tai realm disciples under Chongshan sect. Boom! The Tiangong Divine Furnace shook, and a golden lotus slowly flew up from it. The person next to him is wearing a white robe and looks like the Ruyi body of an old man. With a finger, the lotus flower opens and 108 rays of golden light rise into the sky. The top of Tiangong Hall opened instantly, allowing the elixir energy to permeate the air. The thunderstorm followed. However, the 18 thunderbolts knocked down can be called heavenly forging. With Su Junming's current ability, he could easily refine Tai's middle-grade Remenya pills, 108 pills in one batch, and all of them turned into pills. More than half of them are top grade. After the thunder, the old man Ruyi waved his hand, and a crimson gourd flew into the air, collecting all the elixirs. After Su Junming read it, he did not intervene. It is enough to refine Tai level elixir with Ruyi body. But for Deluo level elixirs and spiritual treasures, Ruyi Shen could only be used to look at the furnace. When they were finally refined, he, the real person, had to come forward. Reach out and make a move. Next to it, a jade box was dug into the palace wall, and a jade box flew out of the tens of thousands of niches. After opening it, Sun Shi's Fenglingzingzing was put in for subsequent elixir refining. Suddenly, in the green gourd on the waistband, a jade plaque began to beat. Someone has violated the restrictions of Xianjia Yuan. After sneaking out and opening the restriction, it was Zhen Yuanzi who came to visit. Fellow Taoist Su, I'm sorry for disturbing you. What are you talking about, Daxian? Come in quickly. Zhen Yuanzi strode in. After sitting down. Where's the disciple? He just broke through and will go into seclusion to stabilize his cultivation. This boy has a strong will and great talent. You have made a good disciple. Thank you, great immortal, for your praise. Su Junming believed that Zhen Yuanzi's visit would not be just for chatting about family matters. That's the truth. After pondering for a moment, Zhen Yuanzi's expression showed a hint of expectation. Fellow Taoist Su, can you let me meet with my junior brother, Daiweo? This. Inconvenient. Su Junming nodded. My junior brother is currently refining alchemy in seclusion, and even I don't dare to disturb him. There was a pause. But if the great immortal wants to refine elixirs, you might as well tell me. As long as the grade does not exceed the limit of heavenly Dao in the earthly immortal realm, my junior brother can refine it. Your sect is full of hidden dragons and crouching tigers. There are many capable people. Su Junming smiled and waited for the next step.